The good thing about the Warriors, we don't care when people hop on the bandwagon. We welcome you. We embrace you. There's heaps of room on the waka to up the waz.
The news might have their own agenda. They might have their own like ideas they want to push. And so it's like, I don't even know if they can be trusted anymore.
How big is your penis? Nah, sorry. I'm just joking. Can I tell a joke? There was a Māori man, Samoa man in Tongan, man.
Cancelled.
Mandate.
Israel Adesanya or the All Blacks?
It could be anything.
Yeah.
And we're just
It
arguing
could be,
a point.
yeah, which do you prefer? It could be who you think has done more for the country, your preference, who's a better role model, whatever comes to mind when you think of those two. Who would you pick and why?
Who would I pick straight off the bat? I would pick the ABs. ABs. You're talking about legacy in terms of countless of years, players, families, and whānau. And growing up as a kid, a lot of kids wanted to be All Black or to be an All Black. So I would choose the All Blacks in terms of the legacy and the mana that it holds, even to this day.
Whoa. Oh, man.
I love Izzy. Izzy's the man. Izzy is the man, 100%. But if you're looking about...
See, Izzy's not going to come now, man.
Sorry, Oos.
Oh, man. Oh.
Don't worry, Izzy, we got you.
Izzy, man, I got you, Izzy.
Izzy, bro. In terms of... he always says, man, he's not local, he's global. So in terms of global impact, Izzy's carrying MMA on the shoulders. Nah, and with the push that All Blacks get versus the push that our combat sports and fighters get, they against all odds they're making it on the big stage. And if the All Blacks were to go to the States and walk on the streets of New York, they wouldn't get any attention. But if that guy walks, he's got everyone around him. That guy, 2-time champion. And I don't think New Zealand really appreciate the impact that this guy has made. But I still love my All Blacks, mainly the old school. Yeah.
Nice, Oos.
What's yours, bro?
Jay, what's yours?
What's yours, bro? We're in similar positions, eh?
Jeez.
I'm curious, bro. What's yours?
Buck Shuffled.
Oh, see that old school, man. Buck Shuffled played with one testicle,
man. That's... He's...
It was in someone's mouth now.
Hey, Buck Shuffled.
Come on, pick, man.
I don't know if I think I agree with your points, and I do agree. I think All Blacks have done more overall, but I think I would go to Izzy. I have to go to him. Just like what he's done. Like he's probably in terms of middleweight, he'd be what, like second grade. Anderson Silva would probably be number one.
He's the GOAT, bro. He's my GOAT.
Over Anderson?
Over Anderson.
Dang.
Even though
Spider.
I love Spider. But
Their fight was crazy.
Yeah.
And Adesanya's done more in 4 years than what a lot of the current fighters are doing. And he's still fighting. Hopefully he comes back.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
The amount of fights he could have turned down, and he chose to just take it. I mean, he risked everything.
But he was on roids.
So he's not gonna come on now.
No, not style bender, but everyone else
Anderson Silva.
Yeah.
No, actually.
Yeah, according to my sources. But carry on. Sorry.
Yeah, I think I'll give it to Izzy. Just at least currently, like for now, man. Like you said, like people around the world know who Israel Adesanya is, and for that point, that he's put New Zealand on the map in that regard. But the All Blacks, like maybe Richie McCaw at some point, Daniel Carter maybe at some point before, but now I don't know.
What sport is your kids playing?
Rugby league. Oh, hypocrite.
To Samoa.
Jay.
Damn. It's funny just hearing your points. Like Izzy today is kind of reminds me of like the All Blacks back in the day, like when they were world beaters. Like they did things that were unexpected by just being the best in the world, and Izzy is kind of like that for me today. But yeah, if I'm being truthfully honest, I haven't seen a rugby game in ages. But I've seen Izzy's fights. You know, I've watched his fights, so I'd have to lean toward Izzy as well. I just think what he's had to overcome, like Charles was saying, like he's had to be his own promotion, and like without the media push, without having the legacy of those that have come before, or less of it, he's had to just build himself, build his brand, build everything. And he's been okay to be critical about stuff that, you know, he's called out stuff that's happened in New Zealand or things like that, and I think that's cool. Love the All Blacks, their legacy, like for generations, and the good they do for the community. Man, you can't touch that. But yeah, just personal preference, I have to go Izzy.
Why do you think people are turning away from the game of rugby, like in terms of viewership? Because honestly, back in the day, 2008 and all that, knew every player. Doesn't if there was plans on that weekend to go out or something, I'll make sure I'm watching the game. But now it's like, man, I only watched the final last year at the World Cup, and that's nothing to do with our players. Like, man, our players are awesome. That I know how hard it is to be at that level in terms of playing for the All Blacks, but man, it's just, I don't know, a lot of people are disengaged with sport. More people moving over to rugby league. It's more engaging, but I don't know. Off topic.
No, but that's an interesting question though, because
then more people are watching MMA now more than ever.
Do you think there's something to do with, like, in New Zealand, because the All Blacks were the best for so long, that anytime we're not the best, it's like,
honestly, bro, I reckon that's the case. Like a lot of people, yeah, like you said, for I don't know how many decades, we were just the best, bro, the best country, best team by far. And recently, we've lost probably the most games we've lost in the last like 3 years. So it's like everyone's like, ugh, stuffed All Blacks, they're mud. And it's like, gee, they're mean. It's just that everyone else is also elite. Everyone's just elevated. All the smaller countries.
That should make it more exciting though, because then it becomes less predictable. But
nah, it's almost like we're conditioned to win, G. Our New Zealanders are conditioned to see the All Blacks go and win and take it out. And if we're not taking it out, it's like, oh, these guys are mud. It's the coach, it's the players, they're mud. It's like, that's unfair, bro.
Do you think there's something there about people, the way that we're entertained these days? Like, we have shorter attention spans. We want to see more action. We want to see a faster game. Do you think anything about, like, the game itself and people's taste in being entertained? Like, there's a disconnect there, or?
I think that's
part of it, eh?
Part of it.
Look at leagues, like you said, the numbers for them, that's risen versus rugby. And leagues easier to digest and it's more action. Lots of run-ups, lots of hit-ups, lots of tackles, as opposed to 10-minute scrums, which people are just, sucks. But it's like, that's a very important part of the game. So, I don't know.
I feel like there's just a disconnect between us and the players these days. Like, we don't know. Like, because they're trained the media not to really have a personality. So they're protected. And it's like, I got no connection with
that PC culture, eh?
Who doesn't remember, like, Richie McCaw and Tana doing, like,
bro, I remember Tana.
Bro, but you still got Ari Severe. Ari Severe. Ari Severe, his character is quite charismatic. People love him, and I think in this day and age, in terms of rugby, because you're right, Charles, absolutely right. The numbers, not only in the clubs but also in the grassroots rugby, has gone down. The stats have ridiculously gone down. Kids are more inclined to play basketball and football, soccer, and I think why people are kind of turning off, because the rules in rugby have changed.
That's good.
The rules have changed, and they change rapidly. They continuously change. And sometimes people say, "Oh, obviously you got the head injuries. You can't tackle, you can't do this." All these rules and regulations have really killed the game. That's what I see. Yeah. And now people are depending on the TMO, and then sometimes the ref, they're befuddled by some of the rules, And so you look at the calls in the Rugby World Cup, man, how many calls?
Oh
You're
my
looking at, we could open a can of worms in terms of Fiji, Manu Samoa, as games as they should have won, and these referees kind of just
They ruined it.
ruined the game. TMO doesn't know what the left hand from the right. They have no idea. And so, and then the ref is supposed to be riffing. They give it up to the TMO. Can you call that? Make that call after how many phases?
I know.
And the guy at the TMA, he's like this. He's looking at the screens like,
Is it that bad? Like the frustration enough, you reckon, to put people off the game?
People have, and you see it time and time again. I've seen the articles.
boring,
Articles.
eh?
People complain about the ref and the game has gone too soft, and that's why there's been an influx of people watching rugby league. Oh man, rugby's faster. You know, it's just fast paced, quite exciting, quite engaging because it's so quick, and you don't have many scrums and a lot of stoppages, and that's why you see up the wires now. People now tuning into rugby league because it's such a intriguing, such an engaging game. Whereas rugby's like the rules are constantly changing. It's slower, sometimes it's slow, but it's an amazing game. Rugby is an amazing game. Obviously, it's our game, us as ABs, but somehow we're losing the aura of the ABs, but also the aura of winning games. And so it's no longer there. And it's sad.
Bro, bring back rucking, bro. When that got taken out, I was like, oh, nah. People in the way, bro. Rocked him out of the way, Chief. I was like you said, it's gone soft.
I don't know.
Yeah, no.
But in terms of like watching when they were winning, man, I've been supporting the Warriors for as long as I can remember, and they've been losing, but I still support them.
Yeah, man, keep the faith, man. Keep the faith.
But when we win, the good thing about the Warriors is that we don't care when people hop on the bandwagon. We welcome you. We embrace you. There's heaps of room on the waka to up the wires.
Oh man.
But yeah, I think there's also just that the narrative, the storytelling, like we're connected to a lot of the personalities that are in league. And you mentioned Adi Sevilla because he's able to be himself. Sometimes he pushes the limits when he can. When he comes and does his interview, we're like, connected. He'll stuff up like in the media's eyes, but he's quick to own it. And
But he's passionate, eh?
he's
Remember he went like
passionate.
this?
Man, he went like
and
that.
then
That pissed
suspended.
me off, bro. That's a whole different.
Bro,
He got
suspended.
suspended. If that for
And the haka for
Oh, no. During game.
During
like,
the game.
Yeah, during the game.
Well,
man.
They
just gotta
couldn't even
try
do
and-
that, man. How stupid is that? He walks up and he goes, "Oh, what a bad role model." And I was like, bro, this guy's done more for the community than.
hard.
It pissed me off.
Yeah. That's
the weight of expectations, as well.
Yeah, I feel
Just made
sorry
me
for
think,
those
like,
guys,
damn,
bro.
those that are in the spotlight. Just
Yeah, it just made me think of another topic, but sorry. Let's
What was that?
let's go.
Nah, just the whole idea of like loyalty and just people playing, switching clubs or staying loyal to New Zealand. Like the law of the All Black jerseys, like everyone hates players when they move overseas.
Sonny Bill's an example.
Sonny Bill, you got Charlie Piuto.
Pietro, yeah.
Moved in his prime. Quite a lot of great players that have moved overseas, but like, what are your thoughts on it? Like,
Ooh,
as a
the loyalty. Yeah.
as a spectator and a fan, like, because I read it, everyone always goes in and says, "Oh man, you should be loyal to your country." I was going, bro, are you loyal to your job that you've been in for years? And if a similar role comes that gets paid, offers you more money, are you going to be loyal to the company you're with, or are you going to move on?
True, that's cool. I like the way you put it.
Bro.
Maybe because I'm not as invested in like things like rugby, but to me, I'm like loyal to yourself and your family first. I mean, some people might say loyalty to God first, but to me, yourself and your family, and if it helps you, yourself and your family to be somewhere else, man, go for it. But Yeah, there is an expectation where people are like, be loyal to your country. But yeah, nah. Yourself and your family first, I reckon.
But you bring a good point. Oos. Well, you look at the Tall Samoa guys. You know, people say be loyal. You got guys like Stephen Crichton, you got Jerome Luai, loyal to the bone to play for Tall Samoa. They could have been picked for Australia, and it was highly likely they could have been picked. They would have been picked for Australia, but they said no. And you get the two sides. People say, "Oh man, come on, these guys." And he had some guys in Tall Samoa who left last year when Samoa played the Kiwis. They left to play for the Kiwis. And people are like, "Oh man, you're not loyal, man. Loyal. If you're loyal to Samoa, you stay loyal." But I totally agree. If your family is in need and you know it's the betterment for your family, the betterment for whatever your choice is, I think the choice and the onus goes back to the person. And we don't have the right to say, "Hey, you should be loyal to this and that." We don't know what goes through their minds. We don't know what their situations. And for us to quickly jump on, like, "Oh, you're a traitor. You betrayed us. You're not Samoan now, so to speak."
Damn.
To that extent. No, you're not a Samoan. You're plastic, whatever that kind of stuff. But we will never know the reasons as to why people jump ship or say, "Hey, I choose the other side," because people it's financial. But at the end of the day, it's their choice, and I think we should just respect their choice. Say, "Hey, cool, all good."
Do you guys feel the same way if it was like they left tour to go and play for the Kiwis or play for Australia to get like a ring or like to get like a championship? Is that all good still, or is it like
It's
now
funny
you're just chasing rings? You know what I mean? Like
It's
NBA.
funny though, because I brought up that topic because I was pro like it's your choice, but then he brought up like the guys coming to play tour and then they moved to the Kiwis. I remember getting angry.
Oh, bro. I don't know. I too, man. I got angry as well. So
I was going, say the fan part of me was like, man, where did you move on? But in saying that, like, I'm fortunate enough that, man, I can go for both.
It's true, man. We can go for both. But you're right. I was like, man, what a sad dude. Just jump ship,
bro. Fans are bad. Yeah, they pull up receipts, bro. They pull up receipts on.
You were cutthroat, man. But I think you say that. I think if you haven't been in their shoes, if you haven't played professional, you're not a professional athlete or professional player, then we have no say. You have no say because you don't know the situation of that person. Even I've heard people critical say that because I saw some of those guys in the Tall Samoa jersey. Now they play for the Kiwis. Like, but hey, at the end of the day,
that's why I give it up
your choice
to Jason Tamololo.
Yeah, JT.
Because they chose their heritage during a time when their team was not even up there. They made a massive sacrifice during their prime, and with that guy, he doesn't have the option to play State of Origin because he was a Kiwi, so he sacrificed. Play the money and then being an elite player. But yeah, anyway, give it up to all the guys that whatever decision you make it for your family and just be careful of what you end up saying and because people keep receipts. Yeah, so we'll start training. We'll go back to our day jobs.
Yeah, that's right. Oh man.
So what do we have today? Who are we, guys?
Oh man.
What are we doing here, Pete?
What are we doing here? Hey guys, welcome once again. Hey, this is obviously a new segment that we're trying out and we're throwing it out there. If you have any ideas as to what to name this segment or to call this part of this series, so to speak, please give it to us. Just comment and just let us know your replies in terms of how you would like this segment to be called, or to be called. But we're just sharing our thoughts. We're talking about current affairs, things that topics that we wouldn't normally discuss. And so we're just gonna, and also just for you to opportunity for you guys to know who we are as well, and to understand it and to understand our different opinions, differences of opinions as well, as a collective, but also as individuals. And so, yeah.
So this is almost like a clean slate. This is your opportunity to mold what these episodes might look like, and that can be via your feedback through all our platforms. And just be patient with us while we navigate what the space looks like. But we want to, there's bits in here that we want to talk about taboo subjects. Platforms will shy away from, but we want to be able to allow the space to speak on it. We might call it taipu, but it's taboo subjects, and it could range from anything. But yeah, we just want to mold these sessions as a way of just raising men's issues and us being able to talk about it.
Yeah.
Like, I want to talk about boldness, man.
You mean like boldness, courage boldness, or just
No, my hair loss.
boldness.
Being bored. Boredness. Nah, actually, I don't want to talk about it. Like, we can talk about it some stage. That's taboo, eh?
Yeah.
That's taboo.
But it's also an opportunity for you guys to see the inside of the boys, because they don't, when the guest is here,
Inside of the boys.
Inside.
Oh, fuck. Gotta be careful.
So they just
It's taboo right there.
Hey, if that's what you want to do, then DM him. Yeah, carry on. Sorry.
no, just because your fellas inside, we don't really get to see what you guys fully think about what the guests are saying. You know what I mean? Just let them talk, which is cool. But it's like, I think there's been a few comments where like, oh, we want to see what you guys think, or like some pushback or whatever. So this is that space to be able to do that.
We're ready to get cancelled, guys.
Yo.
Jay, any thoughts?
Nah, just reminded me of, like, for example, there are some things that we're going to talk about tonight that are a direct result of some of the comments that were left on the last episode. And one of those things was like, someone had commented that it'd be good to do a weekly report on what's on the news in New Zealand, like the headlines for the week, as some of us are from overseas, and it'll be good to keep up with what's happening at home. They commented that their favorite episode was Mangasiva and Pio. Keep up the good work. And it was a fan from Canberra.
What's his name? What's his name?
I don't know how to pronounce it. But we'll add the tag.
We'll add the tag.
Yeah.
Thank you, brother.
We appreciate it.
From Canberra.
Yeah, and we've heard their feedback, and we're gonna try it out now. But I just want to let you know that I don't read any current affairs.
But actually, let's preface that by saying, like, bro, I never watched the news. So when was the last time you guys watched the news?
Yeah, actually, when was the last time you saw the news? Because it's been years. Bro. Like, I might even say like 10 years since I watched the news.
I think mine was during COVID.
You didn't watch the news?
That was the last time you watched it.
I was engaged in the news and media outlets, but
even then, I just watched like a couple of clips. Did you watch the whole news or not?
Yeah, sometimes.
Like, you might see it on the timeline in that day, but like, did you watch like TV1 or TV3 news on the TV at 6 o'clock?
No, I only watched the news, the emergency alarm thingy.
That's true.
Yeah, all the outlets like New Zealand Herald. We didn't get sponsored by these guys, so I'm gonna name drop yous.
Name drop kickers.
Just all the newspaper outlets. Like, I turned off the notification because a lot of the stories that they share is like sort of one-sided, and it paints a negative picture towards our people. That's how I always thought, and especially with COVID, it was like making people scared.
Fear mongering, eh?
Yeah, I hated
absolutely,
it, and it was getting me pissed off. I was reading through comments, it sort of made it divide, and I was like, it was really affecting my mental health. So I turned off all the notifications. I was like, I'm sick of this, and and I felt better afterwards. But because of this, also, I'm gonna start
Watching the
news and getting engaged with current affairs.
That's a good point, though, is that like the news might have their own agenda. They might have their own like ideas they want to push. And so it's like, I don't even know if they can be trusted anymore in this day and age. Like, it's kind of, I don't know if you guys looked much into conspiracy.
Hey man, I think especially during COVID, you talk about the mainstream media. These guys, and sometimes, they, like you said, I think they're privy to their own, I guess you said, agenda, and some of them, some of these journalists, reporters, and like you said, Charles, it's always kind of been like one-sided, and you find out later from a different source that, oh man, that was the total opposite, and so it's hard to trust, so to speak, mainstream media these days, and you talk about the fear mongering. You talk about division, and you talk about the negativity, obviously in terms of our people, or South Auckland, so to speak. And it can be. And so I think it's important that whilst you're looking at the news or mainstream media, also look at some of the other outlets out there that maybe hold the truth.
Yeah.
Because it is. I think we need to be looking for truth, not part, not part truth or little.
It's tricky the way, because I'd love to talk to someone who like does that sort of thing. Because in my mind, I'm thinking if you want to become a journalist, there must be some integrity there where you want to be able to like expose the truth about lots of different topics. But somewhere between the integrity of like going out and having this mission to, I don't know what journalists do, investigate a story, between that and it getting delivered to the masses, like it runs through some sort of machine where you don't know what's been lost and what's stayed true.
That's true.
Yeah. I think in the past, I've typically been one that's followed mainstream. Like if I see it, I'm like, I just kind of believe it. Naturally, it's only been in recent years that I'm like, actually these news organizations, if they rely of some of their funding or they get paid on how many people view their work, then it's in their best interest to create headlines that generate some controversy or paint people a certain way, because that's what sells. And if it sells, then they're more inclined to make tweaks. I don't know. In my head, that's kind of how it works. But
that makes sense. I think when you brought that up, I think I really lost, because I was like you. I used to always believe whatever mainstream media said. I was like, all right, whatever is on the news, like, all right, cool, that's what happened. Like, that's fact. That's the way it is. It wasn't until the whole COVID thing, I was like, bruh, I don't know, man. That was when my eyes were open to like, man, this whole thing is just messed up, bro. Like, I don't know. I didn't know who to believe at that point. And so I started looking online and just doing my own research. And
I think that's it. You just hit it on the nail, Brad. I think, whatever's received or whatever we watch or hear on radio or even us as a podcast, I think it's important for us to test everything. And instead of just go, I just take it for gospel. Oh, yeah, that's true, that's true. I think it's important that we test everything and say, okay, is this really true? Because, like you were saying, it could be some messaging or whatever, lost in translation. But regardless, if it's lost in translation, it's still not true. Even if it's going down, whoever gives the green light, says, yep, this is what you need to throw out on the news. Yeah, I like what you said. This is what needs to go out on the radio, whatever, on the airwaves. I think it's important for us as people in general to test what is being said and what you're viewing.
Amen, brother.
So we need more of you truth seekers out there, being journalists, so you can tell our stories and and whatever you hear on here is the real deal. Like,
fact.
We've done our research and Bro, we're just gonna have fun with this and we'll try to like have our own opinions and hopefully we can discuss some current affairs.
Slightly off topic, have you guys seen The Newsroom? It's like a TV show.
Yo,
bro,
so good.
We need news people like that, bro. Like, it's cool. Watch it, The Newsroom.
Good show. So what's currently trending?
What's trending?
Who wants to kick it off?
Start us off.
Go, Pete. I know you watch
What's trending? What's trending? Oh,
can you name your source?
My source. Do something. I'm not. Well,
what? Pornhub.
Test everything. Even that. Test it.
Test Pornhub.
Everything, man. Test everything. But
What are you drawing the line, bro? You're testing everything on there. It's a deep dark hole. There's no coming back.
You go down the rabbit hole.
You ain't coming back.
You go to the rabbit hole. But current affairs in terms of what's happening. Obviously, next week we have the Treaty of Waitangi. And so the Treaty of Waitangi is coming up. Obviously, we got Christopher Luxon, who's now the new Prime Minister, with and his good buddies David Seymour and
Uncle Winnie.
Uncle Winnie with St. Peter's. And so just on.
Sorry, quick question.
Yep.
And honestly, before Pete said it, did you guys know who the Prime Minister was and who the?
I forgot who it was, but yes. It's a coalition. Do you know what's a coalition?
Yeah, the coalition.
I was saying, but I didn't actually know.
So our government's made up of 3 parties.
I don't know who the Prime Minister is though. Who is it?
Oh, Christopher Luxon.
The bald guy. The
National.
guy who said, nah.
Sorry, Pete, I just wanted to.
Yeah, but it is a coalition. Like you said, Charles is Christopher Luxon, and you got David Seymour from what party? What's his party again? The ACT Party, and then you got Uncle Winnie with St. Peter's of New Zealand First. And so obviously, Treaty of Waitangi is next week. We're going to be celebrating. Obviously, the 3 Ps: participation, protection, and partnership. So you had Christopher Luxon and David Seymour. Just I think it was yesterday or even today. I think it could be wrong, but talking about the Treaty of Waitangi, they're going to be up there. They're going to be talking about having the discourse between the Crown, the British Crown, and also tangata whenua or Māori whānau. And so it's always been that. And he said there's going to be a discourse. It's going to be a relationship. It's all based on a relationship. And then David Seymour say, hey, it is about relationships. It is about but he didn't significantly say partnerships. It's about relationships. He talked about a man called, I forgot his name. Let me see.
Something Cook.
Yeah, Robin Cook. He said Robin Cook. Robin Cook had made a statement in 1987 about the partnership with the Crown and tangata whenua. But since then, Christopher Luxon and David Seymour and maybe Uncle Winnie with St. Peter's has a different outlook. Because for them specifically saying, okay, where do we draw the line? Is it Māori or co-governance? Is it Māori? And then you have everyone else in partnership. And so he said something real quite interesting. He said, is it just one rule for Māori, and is it another rule for the rest of the population? So what are your thoughts on that, brothers, in terms of Māori or everyone else, or co-governance?
Oh man, that's a tough one.
Or can they coexist? Can those 2 things coexist and coexist in harmony, or will there be some sort of conflict in terms of?
Ideally, you want that to happen, eh?
To work together, eh?
Yeah. But let me paint this picture and see what your thoughts are. Imagine you're in Samoa, your grandparents in Samoa, right? And then you had someone else go over to that country. And then who's more important? Like the people of that land, or the visitors come in and say, hey, we have a right to here. We should co-govern your country that I'm visiting and drain off their resources.
Definitely the people of the land. Priority first. They were there first. It makes sense that they would have, that we would
First
all
dibs.
become accustomed to the way they do things. Like we assimilate into that.
I guess it depends on like how long they've been there for, the visitors. Like have they been there for a time where they've integrated and it's just like generations later, and it's like, then it gets a bit murky. Do you know what I mean? Like of course, the way to look at it is like the people who were there first for sure should get like priority or get precedence. I don't know. I just don't know enough about like the politics of the Treaty of Waitangi and the government and that relationship and how that's been over the last 20, 30, 40 years. I know, bro. I'm so bad, dude.
Similar boat. It was just one of those things you hear about growing up, but you don't actually. It's hard sometimes growing up to know the importance of why you should look into some of these things, especially when it's related to history, because you're so focused on just surviving and providing and making money and all that sort of stuff that it's hard to see the connection of like, why does that matter and how does it influence everything I do today? But definitely, I feel like as I've gotten older, I know it's important, but I just sometimes don't know where to start. Or like there's just so much to unpack there.
What are your thoughts on
What do
the
you-
article you read?
Well, I'll tell you what, because I'm not much into politics, but I thought we could just bring it up because obviously Waitangi's next week. And you hear it all the time. You hear it in the education system, you hear it in wherever you are in Aotearoa, New Zealand, you hear about the treaty. But I think the difference in terms of what you were saying, Charles, in terms of if we're in Samoa and other people just come out of the blue and say, okay, I want co-governance with your nation or your country. The difference is it was a treaty. Both parties came together and they signed a document. And so whether that document was to have equal rights, as some people are saying, equal rights to whatever, or partnership or relationship, whatever it is. But regardless of that, I think the people of Aotearoa should, there should be an understanding and a respect and also an appreciation of tangata whenua. And so, but in terms of, I don't know, I think people, there's a fine line. I'm thinking to myself, okay, if Māori have this specific right and everyone else has a different one, or is it equal? How do we govern that together? How does that coexist? If they say, oh, well, Māori has this particular privilege versus everyone else's privilege. And so I'm thinking, would they bring forth conflict? Would they bring forth a bit of, I don't know, disharmony, so to speak?
I think for myself as an ignorant Māori that lives in New Zealand, I've always thought like, I just find it strange that, because I don't know the ins and outs, so I'm very ignorant, so forgive me for my ignorance, but I've always found it strange how there've been, like almost like a separate set of rules or maybe like favor for Māori people. I understand that, but like, I'm more like, no, I'm just like going to get freaking cancelled.
We're having a conversation.
Yeah, we're having a conversation.
Yeah.
But I've always found it strange that Māori people are like, oh man, like the white man comes in and takes our stuff. It's like, oh, that's cool, but you're driving a BMW, like, you know what I mean? Like you're wearing like modern clothes. If that's the case, like why aren't you living in a bush somewhere? It's like, because you're like, New Zealand is different now. It's not set back in the days. It is the way it is now. We have a what is it, like a democracy. Like things have been put in place. It's been like this for years. I don't know. I just feel like there should be like equal opportunity across the board.
But the argument is that it was forced upon them.
Okay, so
so that's colonization.
I can't speak on that. Yeah, I can't speak. I can't speak on that.
No, it's cool.
But that's cool.
Yeah. That's a lot of us. Like, and even me, whatever I'm talking about is like, there's a level to my understanding, and I don't know much, but I'm just
no, you just put it out there.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Where I'm coming from is I feel like it takes the responsibility off the individual if Māoris are given, I don't know, if they're given like privilege or if they're given, I don't know what, like perks or whatever. If there's separate rules for Māori people and then separate rules for everyone else, there's a lack of responsibility on the individual. I feel like it should be equal across the board. Everyone should get equal opportunity, and it's up to that individual person whether they succeed or not. If they succeed, it's because they worked hard and they knuckled down and they did what they had to do. If they didn't, then you can't really blame it on anyone. You can't blame it on anything. It's just.
But surely you can still have that sense of accountability and still have separate rules where Māori might have some privileges. Because I've always had it put to me like, oh, but then the pain of those who suffered, like that's been inherited by these generations who have less opportunity, or, have to hear the stories about their grandparents being brutalized and all that sort of stuff and cheated out of land. Like, if we're saying it just one rule for everyone, then it's like, oh, Māori are forced to just forgive and forget, even though there's no sort of justice for
there's no
those
justice.
that have suffered.
So, I again, because I'm ignorant, if there were people ripped off, 100%, like 100%, they should be paid back.
Even the signing of the treaty and also the signing over of land, it was like these stories that the British or the missionaries or whoever, they got them drunk and got them. some of them didn't even know the English language, but they probably had these translators and they're going, this is what it thinks. And then they get an X, get them drunk, sign it, and they lost all of their land. And some of them were forced. And it's almost like if you think about your house, someone came and robbed your house, took everything of your house or kicked you out. No, let's say someone came to, you went for a holiday, you went up the street, someone came, inhabited your house, stayed in their house, you came back and you're like, hey, this is my house again. Hey, this is my house. And then let's say that house was $1 million, and then you're trying to fight for this house, you couldn't, you die off. Then you're maybe 3 generations down, your grandchildren find out that was your house, and they're trying to fight to get their house back. But you go, no, this happened ages ago. This is not your place anymore. Like, how would that make you feel?
Bro, that's ugly. 100%. Any injustice I think they should be like compensated in some way for people that have been ripped off.
It just gets tricky.
Bar that though, like I don't know, like just Māori people in general. Like maybe because there are people that haven't been ripped off, or is every single Māori person being ripped off? Because if there are people that haven't been ripped off,
and closer to everyone being ripped off.
Then
the other way around.
Oh, this is something. Go Pete.
Bro, teach me Pete.
No. I'm not well versed in terms of politics or even the treaty. I'm just putting it out there because I know it's important
for
us.
Canberra guy.
I know it's important for us as Kiwis, but also our tangata whenua, but all Kiwis in New Zealand.
Yeah.
And so it's important to understand the history. I think, and it has been in the airwaves and on news. That's important for us to understand the treaty. And like you said, I don't know if the chiefs were drunk or were forced to sign this one-page document to say, okay, equal rights and your property, all that kind of stuff. I don't know that. But going back to, and I totally agree. Injustice, if there's injustice, and I can understand to the colonization, there's some things that as Kiwis we're not very proud of, or some of the history in terms of the British Crown or the British Empire, all that kind of stuff. But I'm just thinking, where does the buck stop? If it's like, in terms of reparation, what level of reparation does this whānau or this iwi have in terms of? And I don't know, guys. I'm a Samoan, so I may have no business talking about this. But yeah, please forgive me, my tangata whenua, our brothers and sisters, and so we're just having a conversation. Yeah. And so in no way are we trying to disrespect our tangata whenua at all. We're trying to understand, and we're trying to understand together, but also have this conversation. Maybe it might bring some light to actual reasons as to why, and make us prouder as Kiwis, and bring some harmony for us to come together as one. But in terms of reparation, where does it stop? In terms of, I don't know. Maybe it's uncomfortable, but how do you
pay them?
Yeah, how do we pay them? How do we pay our?
Because that's kind of what's happening. I think, from my understanding, the Waitangi Tribunal, like they work through the reparations and working to pay out iwi that have been done wrong historically. And you just reminded me of something. We had a recent PD at the school that I'm at, shout out Rowandale, and it was with Dr. Simone. She does this thing called Walk the Wall, and she has like a history of, the colonization essentially. And one of the examples was that within 20 years, like 99% of the South Island had been sold, some of it, not done ethically, but negotiated and been sold off to Europe, to colonizers essentially. And she gave an example of even things like laws being changed so that land could be more easily bought by Europeans back in the day. So, for example, land back in the day was community owned, so the iwi owned it, or a whole tribe owned land. But then they introduced this law where it couldn't be owned by a community, it had to be owned by like 10 people or less. And by doing that, it made it easier to negotiate the sale for different aspects of that land. And then if there were debts that needed to be paid, then they didn't have to go to the community and figure out a way to manage debts. They could just negotiate with the people that had been put forward. And oftentimes these people that were negotiating they weren't very connected because the iwi they're representing down in Wellington is, hundreds, days travel on foot. So there were lots of room for negotiations and laws even put in place that would put Māori at a disadvantage, especially when they've come from a history where their language is oral, largely oral. And then now you've got these laws that are written down, and even with the treaty and Te Tiriti, I know there's a difference between with the translations, and that's where some of the friction lay with the treaty. So I think going back to reparations, I'm like, why not go as far, whatever it takes essentially. Because I don't know if we can we truly move forward if there's going to be bad blood, that exists within our country?
But it just goes to show that we have an ugly history, like you sort of alluded to before, and I don't know, the way forward is really to look back, see what we've done wrong, the ugly parts. Like we said, I knew nothing about that whole South Island thing. In 20 years, most of it was sold. I mean, that's args, bro.
That's not right.
That's wrong, bro. That's so wrong. And if our government did that, they made laws, enforced laws so that, they could really pick apart some of these iwis and take the land.
Sorry, I'm scared I'm going to lose this thought, so I'll just say it.
Say it.
One of the things that I thought was so interesting, there's a stereotype that, Māori like to drink and there's domestic violence in the home. And one of the things that they talked about was that, during the war, when they made it mandatory for Māori to enlist and go to war, and then they came back from the war, I think the stats were something like 100,000 went and 58,000 died or were injured from the war. Those that survived had to come back and just go straight into civilian life. No counseling or unpacking. It was just go straight back to being a worker and a civilian. And when times got tough and they had PTSD or whatever other issues came up because they didn't know how to cope, they turned to the two comforts that they learned in war, and that was alcohol and violence. And so with nothing else to cope with, how do you cope? You do what you know, and alcohol and violence because you had to go fight in a war where those were the only two the only two ways to cope in war. And then that whole narrative of Māori love to drink and, there's always domestic violence in the home, that's been perpetuated over generations now. And it's just the story that, the reality of is just they had no other way to cope. They got thrown into a war that they didn't really have. It wasn't their war. And now they've come back and this is the story that gets generated in media, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Bro, so in terms of the way forward, education, educating the general public of some of these things that have happened, I think is really, to me, is the way forward. People need to know about this. So it's cool, how do we deal with it? As opposed to just labeling them, but they're just alcoholics. They just...
Because then that is the tricky part. Is one bit is knowing it. Once you know, it's what do I do then? What is an everyday person? How can we help fix, even if our intentions are, we do want to bring balance. I don't know who has the answers to those questions. But.
What would New Zealand look like if it was co-governance? Or what would it look like if it was led by the people of this land? If we had a Te Ao Māori view of doing things, what would it look like?
I reckon it'd be beautiful.
And that's the thing. They've never
tried it.
We've tried it one way. We haven't tried it the other way. Yeah.
And so you imagine, there's a lot of, there's a generation of Māori that are learning, taking back their language. They're learning, the way of life, and they're really, they're really proud and going back to some of those old ways. And when you look at them, man, they're so amazing. It's just imagine what it would look like in this country and then how do we as tangata moana feed into that? I think we'll have, I don't know. I think the thought of it's beautiful and just the way navigating through it. But right now it's just it's just one dominant way of living and I don't know. This is just a thought.
Yeah.
What does it look like though? Would they have a set of rules? for Māori people, or would it be like just for
I think
everyone?
if it's co-governance, there'll be just more of that cultural aspect brought into the foundations of how we live. But I think it'll be cool because it would set us apart from the rest of the world. Like it would make us really, it'll give us something really unique if, as a nation, we're embracing the culture of tangata whenua, like the people that live here. We all, I know it'll be uncomfortable because, you know, it's changed, but we all know and we've all seen people that are Pākehā pick up the reo, get embedded in the culture. Like it can be done. It's just uncomfortable to change.
And I think it's going back to that, to honouring the treaty. Like there's a way of honouring that, and I think once we figure that out and allow the right people to take lead, and hopefully, you know, things change. But
man, that's a virtue that I think is largely lost in the chaos of today. It's like honour. Like that's something that we think, you know, exists back in the day, but maybe not so much now. But I'm like, where is the honour of New Zealand? Like, where is our honour? Do we have honour as a people? Can we truly look at our relationship with tangata whenua and the hardships they've gone through and be like, yep, we're honourable people? Like, we have this clean, green New Zealand, but like, where's our honour? Do we have it? I don't know.
Even, yes, there's a good point. Also, in terms of honour, do the people who've pledged and written this and signed this document, do they honour the treaty? And you're right. If there was, it'd be quite utopic in terms of, oh man, what a co-governance that can come together as one in harmony. I think you said it, Charles. I think in order for that to ever exist or even happen, is you need to have the right people in these positions. Yeah, we can have co-governance. So that's going to be awesome. I can imagine it'd be such a good, you know, in terms of as a country coming together. But if you got the wrong people, regardless of how good it could be or look like, you know, you're having the wrong people in that those specific positions, you can turn it custard. And so I believe if we got the right people of the right heart, in terms of the right vision, in terms of honouring tangata whenua, all Kiwis across the board, whoever they are, it could happen. It can very well happen, but in terms until we find the right people and the right people in those specific positions, then I think we will be it'll be an ongoing saga. And so, whānau, you know, apologies if we are kind of treading on people's toes, and you're thinking these guys are no shite
We'll
about.
take it, man.
Yeah,
We'll
you
take
think these
it.
guys
Like,
know
we
shite
know, we
about the treaty and all that kind of stuff. Totally understandable, but our thing is not to bring forth any anger or make people think, oh my gosh, these guys are clowns. We're just here just having a conversation.
yeah,
And we're not that proud. We're not proud to even say sorry. And if we are wrong in terms of some of the things that we're saying, then apologies in advance to our tangata whenua and all the iwis out there and those who are well-versed in the Treaty of Waitangi. So, yeah.
But
cool.
in saying that, this is a great opportunity for anyone that's been just watching this conversation. Like, it's a good time for some education. So if there's anyone you recommend that you would want on the podcast for us to have this conversation around the treaty and
Māori injustices or anything?
yeah, it would be great. Send them those recommendations so we can reach out to them and then have the sarano, because it'll be great for us. It'll be a good refining moment for our men, especially us Māori and PI, and just people in general. And it'll be awesome because obviously a lot of us, some of these topics are nuances to us. So it'd be good to see what a deeper understanding of our history and the treaty would be. Like how would it change us as our perspective and us as men? So yeah, send in your recommendations, comment, DM, and yeah. Thanks,
cool.
Pete. I don't know if we answered the
cool.
article, but
Hey, we didn't answer, but I think it was cool conversation, honest conversation.
yeah.
And yes, if there's a Komatu out there who knows or anyone who's well versed in the treaty, please hit us up. And we could educate us. It'd be awesome.
Sure.
Jay,
Who's got
anything?
I saw a headline. I just went for the headline that sounded the most interesting. Excuse me. And it was working income's lack of empathy sending people back to jail. And it was the story of this guy who had just gotten out of prison, and he was trying to get some support for housing. And one of the workers told him to like go rob a bank. And yeah, then it just started this whole like thought process around WINZ and their lack of empathy, sending people like part of the reason we have bad statistics with people in prison is because the people that are supposed to be helping aren't helping or have a lack of empathy.
Ooh.
Damn.
WINZ, man, WINZ. They didn't sponsor us, that's all right. WINZ.
Imagine that mandate sponsored by WINZ. Like, bro, sponsored by MSD.
Keeping people on job seeker, G.
Well, that's interesting.
Oh man, it's funny because like I feel for the people that work in these organizations that are supposed to help, like the people in the trenches doing the day to day, because everyone has bad days, and I don't know the full context of the person who said it or what was happening leading up to it, but we've all had bad days where we've said stuff that we shouldn't have said, and so I always try to think like, oh, maybe just caught like, yeah, it's a horrible thing to say, and it could have upset someone's life, but at the end of the day. Who knows what that person was going through?
So did they actually say that? Jay?
Yeah. The guy recorded the phone call because he'd been trying. I think one of the bits was they'd put him in housing that was like a small, like a halfway house kind of, but it was like with people. He just had a bed in one room with other people, and he was a recovering drug addict. But the people in the room were doing drugs, so he decided to live in his car to distance himself from it, and that's when he was trying to get support for housing, and then it just turned into this whatever it turned out to be. And he was saying like, he had it better in prison. Like he had more space, meals, water, a bed compared to being out of prison trying to make it, and just yeah,
Man,
That's tough.
well, whoever that person is, man, shucks, come on, man. If you're in that position in terms of WINZ and kind of, because what was he? Was he just looking for housing, or was it just for benefit? Was it?
looking for housing.
Yeah. Still, you have your bad days. You have some moments, and you may, there could be some truth in terms of people coming in and trying to play the system in terms of housing and benefits, and they may have come across, people like that in a day-to-day job, but for him to say that, still, that's harsh, man. That's you still want to keep a level of professionalism, man, in your work. So he's out of line from that one, man. Out of line, man.
I think you need a level of empathy when you're in that position because, one, MSD already have like a bad reputation in terms of the support and just some of the stories throughout the years of how people have interacted with. It used to be social welfare back in the days.
Rebranded it.
Yeah, and I know there's some amazing people in there that make some changes, and it's really dependent on the worker. And when you're a frontline worker, you're dealing with similar issues constantly, so it's easy to like build up this frustration and sort of paint and label everyone the same, but everyone's story is different. For a lot of people that require assistance, it's shaming for them. It takes a lot of courage for someone to want the help and to go in and try to get assistance, and you're treated like crap, especially if you're just got out and you're rock bottom, and and you're treated like rubbish, you're just gonna, yeah. So I don't know, how do we do better as a government agency and also as a society to really support one another? Because it ain't easy on both sides, but I just feel sorry for, our system sort of needs an overhaul.
Clean slate, eh? Clean slate.
Yeah.
They're in a weird position because you bring up a good point, like in terms of their image to the public. Like if everyone at MSD do their job and there's success all around, like you won't hear about it. Like no one's been like, oh man, I went to MSD, had an awesome thing. They hooked me up and got me through this tough period. Like that's awesome. You never hear those success stories. But if something goes wrong, man, everyone's like, that's what sells. That's what people want to hear about. Like, man, I can't believe these guys, did this to that person. The system's broken. And I'm playing devil's advocate here because I don't actually know. But I just think they're in a tough place. And a lot of people that are in organizations that are supposed to do good, like perfection is almost expected. Like you expect no issues, and that's why when something goes wrong, that's the story that that we hear about. So I don't know. My point is, I just feel for them. Like,
I think that's a good point because I mean, everyone's been in some kind of job where like they've had to do things they don't want to do. And like we don't know, like you guys have said, we don't know what that person was going through. And it was very unprofessional for them to say. But like, they may have just been screwed over by like 5 or 6 people before that are just trying to rip them off and play the system. So, that person said it out of a moment of weakness and it was unfortunate. But you're right, there's not enough success stories talking about how they really helped me through this period. And I don't know, it'd be cool to see someone that's like of some kind of celebrity status actually give props to MSD. Give props to the government, like, man, they helped me when I was on welfare. I was a bare bottom and I worked my way up. But you're right, we only ever hear about the bad stuff, and that's kind of the problem. I think is that we only like the government, especially. It really only gets brought up if there's something negative to say. No one's ever praising the government for what a fantastic job they did. The last time I heard that was maybe the way Jacinda first handled the first lockdown. The first COVID, and then after that, she just fell off the rails, and everyone hated her. But
I was a big fan all the way through. just saying. But casual.
Yeah. No comment. But in terms of like just looking for assistance, like I've been on both sides. I remember there was a time where I went full-time study. It was, I felt called to go and pursue the study, and I wanted to give it my all, but we had to get the system. I remember getting arrears on our rent and didn't have a vehicle, and so it didn't really have much support. And then when you're like sort of rock bottom, it's like, oh man, gotta sort of put away your pride, and I just remember feeling shamed, man. I'm not supposed to be here. I knew someone that was a MSD worker working in the office, because you're like, you're there, and I just remember trying to hide my head and I was going to give my forms, and it was just embarrassing. But the process was long. You gotta wait phone calls. You gotta turn up to appointments sometimes, and so it really depends. Like there was an awesome lady that was at the front counter, who was Cook Island, and she was good. She smiled at me. She go, "I'll take your stuff. I'll process it straight away." And those type of workers really took away some of the stress that I already had, and so I've benefited from the support from government. And it's helped me to get into the position I am, where like I'm now, I get good salary for the work that I do, and I'm now debt free. But that's because of a lot of the people that I've aligned with and that have supported me, and the decisions me and my wife had to make. So when I look at government assistance, it's supposed to be there to give you a hand up, not a hand out. And the moment we start becoming dependent on the support, then it disables us as people, and so like I'm a big advocate for it, but it's like, man, use it. I just hope on the support side, there's like always remembering like this individual that comes to you, like it might be similar to someone else's situation, but they're different. You got to personalize it, like always clean slate in terms of like who comes to you, because their story is different, and help try to go even beyond like, or support this person because they don't want to be here. Otherwise, we're gonna always get this dependency or this hate towards the system, and people are gonna fall through the cracks, and so I sound like I want to get into politics or something.
Let's go, G.
But yeah, I think we got to do better, and that's why every time there's a government change, I always worry. But a lot of our people get so stressed out about, man, this person's in Labour, or this person's in government, and everything's over, all doom and gloom. Okay, bro, since when did us people give so much power to the system, to the government? You know what I mean? Like, we as people got to empower each other to, regardless who's in power, you have the resilience, you have the courage to make your own path. Like, use whatever systems in there to support you to get your leg up, but don't depend on them. Don't allow them to take the power away from you, because some of these systems are put in place to marginalize us and keep us in our place. Oh my gosh, how are we going to
let's go.
Preach it,
But yeah,
preach it, man. Hey, for the most part, it was, when you went to WINZ, you sounds like you had a good experience. Whoever was in the front, whoever assisted.
I think just depends who you dealt with. Because I got angry at the person that I was talking to on the phone. They'll send me somewhere, and then you're supposed to sit with a case manager whose desk is here, and the next desk is right there, and you're supposed to be telling their story. And if the person in front of you is already prejudged you, you're like embarrassed on top of embarrassment on top. And so you just want to get out there, and then you wonder why people turn to drugs, people turn to the patch, people turn to making money illegally, and why people would rather go back to jail. But then I've experienced and witnessed, like working alongside MSD and other agencies, like some amazing people that want to make a change that in that position, so we can empower our people, and knowing that value each person that comes to them, and trying to change system to make it much more accessible and easy for our people. And so just last year, the last 2 years, and I know since COVID, like there's been a lot of change, and I know there's some key people and positions that are wanting to flip MSD on its head. And the only scary part about that is just this, because they were making these changes through a certain government. Now that we've got a new government, like I wonder if that, takes them back a few years or so. There's so much going on in the background, but I think me as us as people of service is like, how do we empower, mobilize our people to, regardless of who's there, like how we can get the proper support for them.
You brought up a good point in terms of like the whole national labour thing. I think Jamie and you had talked about it before, but it's kind of stupid that is it every 4 years?
Yep.
3 or 4 years?
3 years in New Zealand?
I think it's 3, 4.
I think it's 4 years, but regardless, if Labour's in there, they're like, we're going to do this 10-year plan, and then National gets in later, then it's like, bro, like what happened to your plan? Like, scrap that, we're going to do this whole new thing. So you have like lots of half-done jobs, nothing's really been seen through to the end. And it's just annoying. It's just dumb. Like,
unless it's really good and it's making changes, then depending on who gets into the new government, they will see it if it's beneficial.
They'll carry it on.
Like Kiwi Saver was brought in by Labour years ago, and then whoever changed into it saw it was beneficial and kept it. And, so it's, I don't know. It's just like, why do we have to have these two main parties? Why can't we have
That's why I always vote for the
Underdogs.
Underdogs, yeah. Just because I'm like, it's always the same too. It'll just be
So we're
interesting.
gonna start our new party in the next mandate.
FTP.
FTP for the people. Not what you're thinking, but for the people.
Man.
It'd be cool if there was a coalition with only the small parties. Like no Labour, no National, just all the small parties come together. Jeez,
That's the good thing about coalition, because nothing gets easily passed by just one member. If it was just one member, no one's arguing over it. But these are three strong personalities, so it'll be interesting how that goes. But it'll be good, having Uncle Winnie there might push back a lot of things, or might not. But just vote for mandate. We got you.
Commission to help you.
I can't remember what the original. It was the MSD. So shout out to all our awesome MSD workers. You guys, even though I said all that, like, I know there's some good work that you guys been doing, and keep at it. But if you have a co-worker, you know that they're useless, then hold them accountable. Call them up.
Dob them.
And not just MSD. If you're a youth worker, social worker, I'm calling all of you out, because if you're in it for the money, like, the money's good. If you have a good heart, know your worth. But man, you're not dealing with a product. You're not selling a product. You're in the business of people. You're in the business of care. So get your heart right, get your head right. Always treat people with respect, regardless of where they are, because, man, you're there for a reason, to help each other. Always look at them as like, oh, my dad's come to me, my mom's come to me, my sister's come to me. Like, treat them like, for some of you, family members are a trigger, but whoever is really significant to you, like, would you want them coming to you for their support? You treat them. Yeah, so.
That's cool.
Sorry, oh my gosh, this changes the topic.
Who's got our next story? Nah, you summed it up well, bro.
Yeah, man.
Nah, I think there's two. Also. Oh, did you have a story?
Oh, there was one. What was it? I only read it today. Again, because we don't watch the news. So because of that comment, I looked it up. Amanda Turner, she was a nurse. She worked as an employee at the Wairarapa District Health Board employee. And she was let go in 2021 for posting anti-vax information on Facebook. And so I thought that was interesting. And then she appealed it in 2022, lost. And then she appealed it again last year and lost again. So I think she's booked for March this year to appeal it. But it just made me think, like, this whole like freedom of speech type thing. When you have a career, when you have a job, there's certain responsibilities that come with that. And so on social media or publicly, maybe you can't say really what you want to say. And I just find that, like, that kind of sucks, Because Jay, as a teacher, does that frustrate you that you can't really speak your mind?
Frustrates me hard out. Like, that's one of the things. I wish you could separate, like, Jamin the teacher versus just Jamin, like, just me. And I should be able to voice my opinion, no matter how radical or, offensive it might be. If it's truly what I feel, I should be able to say it. But I think because of that responsibility, because of that influence I have as a teacher and influencing young minds, like, I can see why I have to be careful, but it doesn't make it any less frustrating. Like, I hate it. Like, I hate that I can't be truthful to myself all the time, which is half the reason why I stay off social media. I can't say what I want to say, so I'm just like, I'll say it to the people in person if I see them, or like, in my own home where I know I'm safe. But yeah, it is frustrating, and there must be lots of others that feel the same way. Like, is it similar? Do you guys have that to some degree in your roles?
Oh, man, that's a good one.
Depends what's on my contract.
Depends who it is. Depends on the situation. I think I totally understand what you're saying, Jay. I think there's some things that you want to say that you feel kind of constrained or restricted, and maybe because of the backlash, or maybe because the reaction that people are going to have. I think, but also for me, it goes down to what's the point? If I say this, is this going to be beneficial just for me, or is it just for the sake of everyone else that's there, or whoever's listening? And so it can be very frustrating because you want to say, obviously, even in what we do in the podcast, there's some things I do want to say, and there's maybe not, because you want to be treating light. But also there's also the damage control, all that kind of stuff. Who does it affect? Does it just affect just me solely, or does it affect my wife and kids or my friends? And so there's always a fine line. But in terms of freedom of speech, what you're saying, Brad, is it truly? Can we actually say that true freedom of speech when we can't say certain things? And if we do, we get chopped at the knees. And so that nurse. Did she get fired?
Yeah. So she was let go, and that's why she appealed, and then failed, and then she appealed again to another court, and she failed. And if she does, she has a law. She's gone somewhere to court this year in March. If she fails that, then she'll have to pay like $20,000 in for the legal costs.
Legal costs. Well, kudos on her for just speaking her truth. Obviously, anti-vax, but I think if you're going to put yourself out there, you're going to have to be very, very wary of the consequences and the cost. There's always the cost when you kind of speak your truth. And if you're willing to pay the cost, then by all means, say it. But if you're not willing to pay the cost because you can see the ramifications as to why you're going to say this, then maybe it's best to because she's lost her job now. She might have to be high court, pay these fees. But maybe for her, she's kept her integrity and her dignity in terms of, no, this is what I believe, this is my truth, and that may be for her. But
big ups to her, man, for having that fight.
Yeah,
she really believes in, she probably felt there was a lot of injustice of how she got let go. So fighting for that, man, that's commendable. But yeah, I don't know.
Do you think she should have been let go?
Depends on
specifics.
Yeah. So when I was reading through the article, they were saying that there was within some of the posts it was part of some group or whatever, but it was kind of informal. So there were some memes, and they were it wasn't everything she said wasn't necessarily backed by evidence, so to speak. And as she was a lead person in that role, there were people that looked up to her that were employees as well. They're like, nah, we're gonna let you go.
But that's sad, because that was her, social media, that was her page. Getting fired for something that you said on your page, I think that's not fair.
I had this conversation with my brother Richard. Shout out to you, Richie, down in Welly. But he works for
National Library.
The national. No,
DIA.
DIA.
Yeah.
What is that? The Department of Internal Affairs. That's right. But he was saying that he can't go openly say what he wants to say on social media because he works essentially for the government in one way or another. And so there's a responsibility with that, and it's just I talked about it, and he's like, yeah, it does suck, but I guess it's all part of it.
I think if it's stated in your contract, or if it's not, then you should know the consequences if you But if it's not, then you have every right to say what you want to say. The thing I like about the UFC and Dana White, he allows his employees to, they have the freedom of speech.
He spoke about that recently with Sean Strickland. And him personally, he doesn't agree with 95% of it, but he has a right to say it. So, yeah.
Yeah. That's one guy. You should say his name, Sean Strickland. That's one guy who doesn't give a damn, man.
See.
Did you see that one? Oh.
Sometimes you think there should be some people that should be let go, but he's a perfect, Dana White's a perfect example of just, who am I to tell them what to say and what to do, unless it's something else.
If it's a call to violence, then obviously, for sure, that's not good. But anything else, if it's just your opinion, I sort of wanted to tangent off that to just I I don't know. I almost feel like we're at a point now in the society where, especially with social media and whatnot, you say anything and people are like, if they don't agree with your view, if you say something that's like, oh, I like National, bro, you might get comments for days like, bro, you're mad, bro, I hate you.
Death
like
threats.
death threats. It's like, damn, man, like we can't just agree to disagree on certain things. It has to be just all or nothing, eh? It's like, you're my friend, or I hate you, I want you to die. I hate your kids. Like,
You know why? Because back in the day, you had to say it to people's faces, and so it was like, oh no, I'm not gonna say it to that person. But now you can be like, bro, if that guy, what are you gonna do? You can't get me, like kind of thing. You can hide behind the screen, or not hide, but you can say stuff and be.
Has that translated now? I think into like face to face. Now people are too polarized in real life. Now, do you think as well? I don't know if you guys have seen those. Like,
I think so. I think people are way more cautious about saying the wrong thing in person. Like everyone's so worried about offending people in the crowd or people they're talking to that they'll play it safe. They'll censor themselves first before they like. It's come now. It's drifted down to us personally. I think.
I agree, which is sad because you can't be your authentic self now. You can't even say certain things because you don't want to offend someone. It seems like left, right, and centre, everyone's offended by something that you might disagree on, or your specific thoughts that you have and disagree. But I think that's what made it beautiful in terms of having discussions. We just talk about things. Oh, I disagree, and why? Why do you disagree? Oh, okay, I get it. And I think it's a cool way to learn from each other. If anything, is I said why? Oh, okay, I didn't know that. Okay, cool. Maybe I agree now. But now it's like, no, I would defend my stance to the death. And I agree, even to the point of being wrong, I think. People are like, oh, no, I just agree with it. And knowing very well that's not true. But I'll still stand with this because it's my truth now. I've just, relativism. So what's true for you is true for you. It's not necessarily true for me. But I believe in this. And what you said, I think we're having to the honest conversations and agree to disagree and still be civil. But I think we've gone to another level where people don't want to be civil anymore because they're so caught up in defending their notion or defending their opinions that they can't even sit and listen. Oh, okay, yeah, maybe there's some truth to that. I didn't get that. And learn from each other.
And how awkward is it when that mixes with family? Like when the family talks, because like you can't just cut family off casually, but when the family discussions get heated and people are picking a hill to die on, like, man, then it gets...
You're so right, Jay.
I feel like you two are both speaking from experience.
Especially with my brother.
Oh, man.
I think we've gone away from like saying something and then getting in a hiding for it.
That's another good point, eh? Like,
No
direct
one's fighting,
consequences.
no one's fighting anymore.
Yeah.
You think consequences though? Like consequences, that is a big thing. Like lack of direct consequences or instant consequences. Like where you just think, oh, you can get away with it, and then that snowballs into like, let's see how far we can push it. But there's definitely like some kids where I've seen them at school and I'm like, man, like back in the day, would have gotten a hiding for that. Like that wouldn't even be a problem. And I'm like, bro, if you got a hiding, like you'll be all goods. You just need one hiding, but obviously not from me or whatever. Cause we don't
Just
do
give
that
it to
now,
Mr. B, Mr. B. Give it to
me, bro.
Give it to Mr.
Bro, if
Busby.
you're my class, bro, watch out now.
It's funny though, because we live in a time where, we censor people, but we censor certain groups.
Ooh.
You're allowed to, you can't talk about one thing, but you're forced to agree with someone else's opinion over something else.
Let's just say it. What do you mean?
Like,
Just say it, bro. I know you have an example
we'll
in your
wait
mind.
for taboo
okay.
discussions on another episode, but you know what I mean? Like we can. You can't speak against, which I get, but
What? Say it.
you can't speak against like gay or transgenderism or other stuff. But it's easy for people come and attack your faith. Christians are the most hated people or hated group into in today's society, I feel. And I get it because of some of the messaging that's come across and the way it's been delivered. But it's like, shucks, I can't go in on you or have opinion about my belief, but so easy for you to attack my faith and my church.
Oh man!
All right, let's start.
This is deep, man. It's going deep, man. I agree. I agree with what you're saying, Charles, in terms of certain groups or whoever there may be, or certain organizations say, "Hey, this is what we believe in," and they to the point of even imposing it on you. This is what we believe in, so you got to go with what we believe in. If you don't believe in what we believe in or our opinions and so forth, then you're the one with the problem. Which I'm seeing a lot of, and I'm just being honest. There's some issues there. There's some beliefs out there and values out there. Yeah, this is it. And if you're not with us, then you're against us. Which just doesn't give room for any conversations in terms of why do you believe in this? Why? And no but they want to be understood. Oh, you don't understand us. Well, I want to understand you, but if you don't understand us, then there's going to be no discourse.
I immediately think of Israel Folau and sort of what he went through at that time. It was probably a couple years ago now, but
just recap it for those who might Let's go.
Let's go, Izzy.
This Brad's comments. Go, carry on.
Tell us your truth.
I'm not you guys might know better than me, but all I know is that he was asked a question, because he said he's Christian. He was openly Christian. He was asked a question about gay people, and he said them along with other people, would go to hell, according to the Bible. And then he got mad backlash, bro. And then I think he got suspended or he got dropped from the Australian team. But it's based on and he's just saying what he believes in. He's saying it's not even, I don't ever make these rules. This is from the Bible. So it's and so people got mad, offended, and he got cancelled, I guess, to some degree.
Damn.
So I was like, damn, that's...
He shared a scripture.
He shared a scripture, yeah. I thought that was pretty wild. That the man spoke about his faith. That's no news to anybody. Anyone that has been on earth knows about the Bible to some degree. And he got cancelled for it, or he got dropped.
Maybe it was in his contract. Maybe,
okay, maybe if that was the case, then he did break his contract.
I was torn on that situation, because one, if you're reading that scripture, it talks about all these other things, which I've fallen, there's drunkenness,
sexual morality,
fornication, but everyone went on the gay. But then I also I remember thinking just the way Christians went into bed, you sort of dismiss. You sort of demonize or demoralize the people of that particular community, and just the way how everything came out. So I don't know. I'm a bit torn, in terms of the conversation that was being held. For me, I might not agree with your values or your way of living, but I'll still respect you. I'll still love on you. I still can coexist with you, providing that there's this respect. I don't need to. And then we start. I don't know. It's a whole different.
Wait. So what are you saying in terms of Israel Folau? Are you saying that he wasn't respected, or do you, were you saying that he wasn't respecting the other side?
Just because of what was happening during the time. I'm trying to re-jog my memory, but I remember how everyone went in and attacked. Or how everyone was oh, he's right there. He was right in the sense of the scripture, in church. But it was there was a series of events where it just felt like you were just targeting this this community.
The LGBTQ community.
I don't know. I gotta go.
Yeah, it was a couple of years ago. So, you know,
And I just remember being torn on it because I was having these conversations with my Christian and non-Christian friends, and just the way I felt like the way we were, the messaging was like we're really demonizing.
Was he demonized? Like, you know, was it him or was it the way the media had edited?
Well,
or you know what I mean? Like
that's what
misconstrued the information.
I think the media made it worse because there was way worse things that was happening during that time, but they never got the same media push or scrutiny that Israel got. Which that was another thing I was pissed off at. So it was like, man, he got put through the ringer. I don't think he deserved. He didn't deserve what happened to him. Like, but then I don't know. Everyone's got an opinion now. It's like you shouldn't have said that. You should win on your platform. Your influencers, like, bro, what? If you're not Christian, why do you care what is shared?
Honestly, that's where I'm coming from, eh? Like,
if you know your truth, if you believe and confident in your identity, why do you care about someone who's playing rugby and what he shared?
What does it matter?
So we during that time, that's part of the whole cancel culture. Is like we've become accustomed to like protecting other people's feelings instead of like knowing that you're resilient, that's your identity, yeah, sweet, be strong. And like, I know he's like gay people that were like, who cares about that? But then, you know, the argument is like, you know, the young people that are like on the fence around their identity, you know, they could see that and they only see that because the media had pushed that stuff. Oh my gosh, this conversation.
It's going in circles, eh, bro?
That's good, man.
Back to you, Pete.
No, I think it's cool. I think it's cool. Maybe we could, I guess we could look at it a different way and say there were several ways that Israel could have done that on social media, regardless of what our thoughts and how we would have conveyed that message. Sad to say that. Just that I agree in terms of they just took that one issue and made it and just kind of highlighted that. Just the core focus, the sole focus was that focal point was against homosexuality, and they left everything else, the other sexual morality, drunkenness, murder, all that kind of stuff. And it's sad, and maybe Israel could have done it a different way, but sad that in terms of freedom of speech and all that kind of stuff, and then said that he got kicked out of Australian rugby.
Seems like a missed learning opportunity. In terms of like they could have used that to like bring the community closer and just build a mutual understanding and a mutual respect. Like you were saying, like, you know, even if you don't agree, you can still respect the difference and be like, oh, cool, like that's how you live your life, all good.
But it just shows mainstream media how much they attack that story. I remember it was every article, every Tom, Dick, and Harry came out and attacked Israel for what he said. And my question is, if he was white, would he have got the same scrutiny?
Or if he was Muslim, would he have gotten the same scrutiny?
I reckon if he was white, he wouldn't have.
Yeah,
that's my opinion. Because there was some NRL Australian players that have done some stupid stuff, like drinking your own piss,
cocaine
usage, and then you just see one story and that was it.
And just you're right in terms of the level of punishment. You have him getting kicked out of the Australian rugby union and then not being able to play in the World Cup. Man, this guy's a beast, 100% beast. And you look at the other guys in different leagues or different codes, sniffing cocaine, abusing, beating up their women, all that kind of stuff. And and some of them where the punishment wasn't even as severe as what Israel got. So there's a fine line of
Interesting.
Yeah, the fine line in terms of, I don't know if you can call that injustice or you call that there's different levels of consequences, and which one's worse than the other. So
it's the story that sells, eh? Like I imagine they reported stories on other people doing it, but the one that got the most clicks was that one. And then after that, it was like more people wanted to hear it, replay it, new perspective, chasing him down, trying to get another take on it. Like there's just so much that happens behind the scenes about why certain stories pick up. It could be things like, you know, dormant racism, where like people are just attracted to stories about a minority that's doing something crazy, or a Christian all-star player that's brown that's said this one thing that's controversial, versus like, oh, you know, typical Pākehā dude who's doing all right. Like that contrast of ideas, like that identity, just sounds more interesting on a paper or on, you know, in the news. So I don't know.
This year, look at players like Jerome Luai and who are some awesome characters. Just look at the level of coverage in terms of what they do and how society tries to mold them. Because that guy got, you know, he got put through the ringer. He got so much hate, and that's a lot to do with people's perspective and a lot of the media attention that was put on them, because they didn't like a certain way, certain character, and how our boys like to, you know, have fun and be themselves. It's like, oh, look at him, he's a bad sportsman. But I bet you, if he was not brown, it would be different. And I'm saying that because none of y'all sponging us.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, that's my opinion, though. Just got to remember that to put that disclaimer. That's my opinion. I do not speak for every other islander. Just me and myself.
That's cool. That's so important to put in there. Like all of this stuff is our opinion based on our excuse me, based on our lived experience up until this moment of time. That is what we perceive as, you know, some sort of fact, or what we think about truly. And that's what the show's all about. It's like having these conversations where we can say stuff that might seem out of pocket, but we're simply trying to understand better. And we can't gain better understanding if we're not willing to throw something in the ring and like mix it all up. So
it goes back to Pete, what you had said before, I think, about being able to agree to disagree, and just that, like in this day and age again, just not being able to fully express your ideas openly, knowing that, like, bro, you might be offended, but it's all good because we're trying to discover truth here. You know, you're gonna say something that I think is completely wrong. I want to say something you might think is completely wrong. Let's try and understand this. Like, I want to find out why you think that's the case, so that I can be educated and you might change my mind. You just gotta be humble enough to have your mind changed, instead of just like you're saying, like, oh nah, I don't care what you say, like, the earth is flat, like, stuff you.
I was literally about to bring that up instead of like, how open-minded, like, are you open-minded where you're like seriously consider looking at like things like flat earth?
Like I was literally saying, like, bro, open-minded, flat earth is just dumb, G. Nah, but my wife solely was like, Han, you need to watch this video. Am I convinced you? I'm like, oh, bro, Han.
My perspective is there's no circle, there's no flatness. We're the universe.
And then just like, that's not my opinion, that's truth.
That's from the book of Charles. But yeah, I think, you know, for our viewers, if you're new to our platform, like, we have these conversations that, you know, where we try to seek to understand rather than to disagree, or to, you know, just to talk for the sake of it. Like, hopefully, and you will have guests on here that you might not necessarily agree on, but it's just to give you, you know, different perspectives. And whatever we say, please, like we always share, it's like, take everything like a fish. You take in the flesh and you spit out the bones. You use what's relevant for you, and you just spit out anything that you can't consume. So
That's me.
yeah,
That's cool. Shuttles.
Shadows.
well,
It's a good segue into. Oh wait, was there one more?
no, that was
no,
it.
that was it.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
that's enough
Cool,
stories.
man. That's good, man.
The next on our agenda was what's taboo.
I think we spoke of a few taboo
Oh, we could-
subjects there. So we're gonna do a taboo segment. We're gonna talk about stuff that are really uncomfortable. And also it'll be uncomfortable for us to share. But I don't know. What's the outcome? What are we trying to portray here?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I think that was the idea of one of the ideas of this show here, Mandate Without the Guest, is just that hopefully we can model for people, for men and people out there, just to have your own conversations, have your own circle of friends where you can talk, you can share ideas, you can agree, you can disagree. But I think just being able to sit down and talk can change. I think we can make a difference really in this country, all around the world. If people, you had said something before, it's like strong families make strong communities make strong nations make a strong world. And so like if we want to change the world, we got to start on like a small scale, within your own home. And then if your home is in order, then you can expand to your friends and you can all sort of support each other. So we're just trying to model this, hopefully, so that you guys can go out and have your own mandate conversations, whatever.
Yeah, and especially those taboo subjects that it's hard for us to talk about, like the uncomfortable. We're trying to become comfortable in the uncomfortable, and there's probably stuff that a lot as men we don't talk about. Like we shy away from addictions, we shy away from our emotions. There's probably certain topics that we disagree with, but we hold it in. Because we don't want to, offend anyone, or we don't want to look like that guy that's like, oh man, I didn't know about that, and be a lot of shame. So if we can sort of have these conversations, hopefully, it resonates to someone, and it gives you the freedom to have your own type of and so. If you are still watching this, comment around some taboo subjects you want us to talk about, and some taboo subjects you want us to ask our guests. And I think we'll pick one for today. Does anyone have one? How big is your penis? Nah, sorry. That's more of people we honor keeping this part of private.
Literally,
Private, that's why we go in the changing room. All the balangis out. Just like, but I mean, we keep our shorts on.
That's how.
But I think it's more of this is only for the significant one. Yeah, only gonna share
The gift.
the honorable part of me to the one that you're gonna lay your life for.
Is that
Or do you share your one with everyone else?
Actually, no way.
Can I tell a joke? Because
Yeah,
it's a
man,
taboo
yeah,
subject.
yeah,
I'm gonna tell
yeah.
a joke. Oh man, I'm gonna get cancelled. I feel so
You
uncomfortable.
can't get
all the time.
cancelled, G. You're
Like, hey,
uncancelable.
oh man, hopefully, please, the segment is an R18 segment. And so,
Kids block your ears.
kids block your ears. Parents, if your kids are listening, just skip through this. But this is a joke I learned at primary. So how bad is this? Can I share it?
Yeah, go over it.
It's called The Strongest Penis. There was a Māori man, Samoa man in Tongan, man.
Cancelled.
They were sitting around the podcast, bro. And they were talking, and they were like, they didn't know what to talk about. And then they go, bro, let's see who's got the strongest dick. And then the Māori man goes, oh yeah, I got the strongest dick. Then he grabs the branch from the tree, and he goes, look. And he goes, and there breaks, and then the Tongan man, someone goes, whoa! And the Tongan man goes, I got the strongest one. And he go get the bar, And he goes, look, boom, and then it bends. And then everyone's, whoa, that's mean, bro. Then the Samoan man goes, you stinky. When I got the coconut, and then he go, look, and he cracked it, and then it, cracked open. And then the boss goes, Staro, and he goes.
Bro, I didn't see that coming.
This is the
In primary.
Sorry, I can't remember who told me that joke, but we might cut out this joke out from the section.
We're keeping this, bro.
You know what those jokes say when it's like our 3 men, like Māori man, Samoan man,
Tongan man.
all those jokes back in the day, man.
Okay, sorry, guys.
That's correct.
Sorry, man.
Oh, man, hopefully I don't
Your
get in trouble.
principal's nasty, man.
What's that?
That's how we made our coconut cream back in the day. That's why Samoan's got the best coconut cream.
685, baby.
Oh my gosh, I'm scared he's gonna watch this. Please forgive me.
It's okay. It's
Man,
a joke,
more
bro.
jokes.
It's a joke, bro. Hey, come on.
Yeah, so it's just a joke from the riff. So it's,
Oh my god.
okay.
But there's jokes we can't tell anymore. Because it's racist. As soon as you say there was a Māori man,
So racist.
Especially when you get into the accents.
Bro, your accents are low-key on, G. That was solid, bro. The Māori man, the Tongan man, I was like, that's exactly what Tongan sound like.
Wow, that's bad, bro.
Solid.
You're
Was
racist.
Nah, G.
Okay.
Oh man.
What's that taboo subject?
Taboo. Was it? Oh, I don't know. I think what we had to share was quite taboo. That joke was so bitchy. Oh man. Oh man.
Just trying to think about like taboo. Like the initial thing that came to mind just before when you're like, how big is your dick? And you're like, oh no, we save it for our significant other. How often do you use it on your significant other? Like how often do you have sex?
Oh.
Ooh.
Like in terms of taboo, like that's pretty taboo.
That's
He's still gonna be like,
that's taboo.
I think
I don't think I
for
wanna
me
share
to
that.
share that, my wife needs to be in the
yeah,
conversation. Yeah,
fair enough. Yeah, you don't want to be talking about that.
Because I don't want to show off, like, you know.
Yeah, I don't want to. I don't want these DMs.
I don't want anyone to get jealous that damn they've been married for 20 years and they nearly every day you know. Because I know like when you're in a long relationship, sometimes you know you might lose the flame, and some people their passion and all I can say 20 years
You're a passionate guy.
might still fresh, bro.
Oh my god.
Oh man.
Still like
Still fire, eh?
still fire. It's my wife's on crutches because
The coconut, eh?
dang, but I don't want to put my wife on blast
Nah, yeah, that's mean. What advice would you give to people
in terms of
like long distance relationships that like are struggling with that?
long distance.
Oh no, this is long term relationships. I'm not saying it as if it's me because I didn't have that problem at all. But let's carry on.
I'm not I'm not saying that I'm perfect in relationships, but in terms of my experience, like my encouragement is continue to remember why you guys fell in love. Keep it interesting. Always have your date nights. Always prioritize your relationship. Like they get so busy that you neglect each other's needs. Sometimes when kids come into place, your kids become the priority, or they become first before your marriage. And it's like, I remember learning that, our children are an extension of our love. Doesn't mean I love them any less. It's just that I need to prioritize this relationship and to in order for me to be the best parent, but the best model for what my children will end up seeing. So, always, and my wife, she's amazing, like in terms of patience and allowing me to grow. I think that's a big one for our men, because our women are strong.
Oh, wait, Jay, just to catch you up, we were just talking about he had said you. I remember I was like, "Oh, how big is your penis?" You're like, "Oh, no, we save it for our spouse." I was like, well, how often do you use it on your spouse? Like, how often do you have sex? And we're like, oh, I don't really want to say, but you're saying it's often. 20 years, still often. Pete,
Bro,
twice
man.
a day? No, there's
Hey, man. Thrice? No, that's good. That's kidding.
Thrice a year.
Thrice every 2 years. Bro, that's a good topic, bro. But I think the question that comes to mind, and I'm not deflecting, is in terms of our females, is it in terms of if we want to have sex, is it on tap for us? Hey, because hey man, I want he says I'm in the mood. I don't know, I'm in the mood to have some sex. Is it on tap or is it like
cut off?
Because that was gonna lead to my other piece of advice. Is like having that control. Because if you look at your partner as a piece of meat, they're gonna feel that, and like and then, as men, we get that sexual frustration. It's like, okay, if you're not going to get it, then what you're going to end up doing? And so I had to learn early, like, man, how do I control my sexual desires? Like, am I controlling? Or do I make you feel unworthy? Or do I? And so it's like, there's this. So I like what Pete said, is it on tap? Because it's,
well,
what does that mean?
What does it mean?
How do you unpack that?
Yeah, what are your thoughts? Like, if you want to have sex, you're in the mood, and your wife says no, like, man, she should just give it. We're one now. Yeah, we're one now. It's like, this is my right, and you should just. I have a need to fulfill. Just give it. Some men might think that way, and some men might think, nah. You just have to you have to compromise. You just have to,
That's good.
But what's the consensus from the brothers? Is it like, hey, no, you should, or man, I have to wait now?
It sort of made me think of, like, I had this question before, like, can you rape your wife? Like, is that possible?
Ooh.
Definitely.
But like,
possible.
no, you can,
yeah.
you can. But but initially I was like, what? That's your wife. Like, you have sex with her. Like, you're allowed. Like, but it's your right as the husband. But yeah, no, for sure. I don't know. Wait, Pete, going back to what you're saying, is your wife's, like, is she on tap?
Yeah,
are you asking like
or you mean
when you
perspective?
want sex, just give it, regardless of how you're feeling, what's going on throughout the day. Just give it.
it's
to
your
me.
right as the husband,
my right as husband
to get it.
To just,
If
just
it
give
is it a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, yeah, you're right. It depends in terms of who you are as an individual, more so as a man. Because some people might think, no, that's the way it is, and people might think we're misogynistic or male chauvinists. Even talking about this. But what do you think? Is it wrong for us to say, hey, woman, I want sex. I don't care what's happened throughout the day. I don't give you time. Or do we like?
I feel like the dynamic is important to consider. If that's your dynamic and it's equal, it goes both ways, and it's consensual both ways. Like, I don't see why not, if that's how you work. Because not everyone can have the same dynamic where it's like one set of rules for every married couple out there. So, I don't know, from my perspective, I'm like, if it works for you both have equal input in it, you can both demand it like that, and the other's happy to jump on board, like you have that kind of dynamic, then why not? Like,
It's cool, yeah.
I don't know.
Man, you'll be blessed. You'll be blessed, man.
Yeah, I'll be tired, bro. I'll be like, damn, that's too much. I'm not a piece of meat.
Words no man has ever said. See, no man's ever said that, G. I'm not a piece of meat. What do you think? Come and have. Okay. See, every time it's like, yo.
I'm not a piece of meat, okay? I'm not a piece of meat. Bro, you know that reminds me of, what's his name? Is it Robbie's character on Siona's Wedding? He was that similar thing. It's not a piece of meat. Oh.
But so that's a good question. You said, is it wrong? Was it wrong for us to? I don't know. There's a fine line in terms of demanding and forcing to the point of you better give it to me that. But like you said, Jay, if your wife if it's consensual, then hey, all good. I think that's cool. But
because the danger of that is that level of control. Even though,
you're treating her like your property. If that's the case, say like, you're my wife. Hurry up, like submit to me. Like it says in the Bible, you should submit to your husband. It's like,
imagine how many relationships like here, and it's like, you know, are you having sex or are you having
making love?
Yeah, making love.
This is Munson, bro.
that's another one. Yeah, having sex, or you just
are you on tap or are you having love once a month? I don't
Bro,
know.
just a tangent off that. I'm like, how do you like when with kids? Like, I just imagine when you had like 6 kids. Like, how are you making time to make 2 more? Like, where do you? And I guess that's for any parent. Like, because sometimes when I think back to like our family, I'm like, bro. When I think of our youngest sister, Miriam, I'm like, bro, we were living at Nana's house. Mum and Dad were in the living room. I'm like, bro, what the hell? Sending us to bed and then doing whatever. I don't want to think about it.
I think you become creative. I think you just become creative.
How many times did you go? Go play hide and go seek.
Count to.
Which was going to be? Come on, son, go sleep, son, go sleep.
The kids are coming in. Dad, what are you doing to Mom? She likes it. We'll play wrestling.
she listen, it's okay. But you just like Pete said, but you gotta get creative, eh? Like, you know,
Man.
I think I get denied more often now than before, because before I was like, yo, Hans, spot that time. Like,
Let's do it.
nah, but yeah. Or the acting stuff, and my wife's not here.
I don't want to come across like, bro, this guy's come across as thinking I'm the man, but it's far from the truth. There's probably heaps of times. Like, no, I'm tired. Finding.
Well, tell us, elaborate. I think that's cool. If there been instances where you really wanted it and said, no, I can't because I'm tired, or whatever reason it was, and you're like, phew, and you are sexually frustrated, like, damn, come on, man.
I think I'm better at handling it now.
Can you dig it?
Sucker.
Are you cheating?
Nah, I don't do that, bro. I don't do that.
Are you cheating if you go to your head? Nah, we'll go back to
Wait.
There's a whole different conversation.
Are you thinking about your wife?
Hey, you better be thinking about your wife.
Yeah.
What was the question again?
No, well, there's been instances where you wanted
and
to have sex, and she's like, no, because of whatever reason.
Definitely.
And you're like, damn. So what did you do? How did you deal with it? Or how did we deal with it?
Play my games.
I thought you meant like,
Nah. I
I'm
think
gonna go
that
toilet.
if I know, oh my gosh, this is so taboo, so uncomfortable.
I know this is Munson,
If I-
bro.
There was, if you knew you're gonna be sexually frustrated, you start becoming like, and they're not under me. You start becoming like, you start putting your own strategies, and it's like, okay, I'm not gonna go to bed together because I know I want to, so I'm just gonna read my Bible first before you go fall asleep, or watch TV in the front, or I'm gonna play the game, and then when you're asleep, okay, I'll just slide in and go sleep. They start coming to
Jumping down. Oh, sorry, I was dreaming.
Or I remember,
You know, they got the puller, eh?
I remember, like there was a time where I learned about like having control, and having self-control, and just those virtues of like self-control. It's like, and so learning that, it's like there's times I was going, okay. Just like, because it's a discipline to have self-control. So I think when you're been married that long, you gotta have to, you learn stuff along the way, but it's still never easy. But it's such a good question.
I think what you said about the strategies, there's another way to put it. I think there's strategies to make her in the mood. If she's not in the mood, you know what I mean? Like romanticize her, bro. Like do dishes, bro. You want to get late, G? Massage the feet, G. Do some dishes,
Wow,
bro.
see, now they know all the cheat codes. So it's gonna be like, you're massaging my feet. Oh, is this what you?
But it's so good.
Yeah, especially if they're a person that's acts of service.
Yeah,
Love languages.
yeah, love
The
language.
bro. You better be mowing the lawn. That's why I think I told, I guess, yeah, it was good. I was like, okay, bro, sex starts in the kitchen.
Oh,
If you ain't cooking, mate, if you ain't cleaning, don't be expecting no. Yeah,
nothing turns on a woman more than a man that's cleaning and cooking and being a girl. Just joking. This is the joke.
Gosh,
Okay.
I talk too much on this. What are your thoughts, Jay?
Wait, so we started with Charles. Are we going this way?
Yeah.
I think for me and me and my wife, I just now, when she initiates, then down. But now I just don't. I mean, also because after our second child, I was like, it legit scared me. Like, obviously, not very good self-control, but just the thought of having another kid like scared me and put me off the act for ages. Like even now, sometimes I'm hesitant because I'm like, not worth the risk. Like, but I just struggled hard as a parent to the point where like it just carried over mentally in the But yeah, now it's just if my wife initiates, then yeah. But I'm still not at the stage yet where I'm initiating now. But yeah.
Mean.
Damn, Moose, you got good self-control. Cool.
Hard, bro.
Man.
Far out.
Jeez.
Pete?
Make me feel guilty now. Guilty?
I heard when you get sexually frustrated, you paint. To see if some paintings,
So there's the wrong paintbrush, man.
Why are all your paintings of men?
Man. Jeez. Man. I think for me, like I agree with you saying, Brad. And I think it's just because she said it to me. She's like, oh, she's like, cool, man. Just when you're in the mood, you do something. You affirm her. You know, kind of. I don't know. You just say certain things just to get her in the mood, and whatever, washing the dishes, whatever it is, help her, whatever. But I still do. There are many times, even now, like just recently, just sometimes you just get sexually frustrated, in the mood, and obviously we live busy lives. Oh, sheesh. And then it's like, okay, I understand, and I have to come to the realization that, man, you gotta be considerate. So just okay. If I wanted, I'm not gonna force it on my wife because it's not even love making anymore. It's just like, it's a chore now. It just becomes a chore. Just hurry up, just get everything done with. Thank you. I don't like that. I don't like just have sex for the sake of having sex and that's it. And just the chore's finished. Yeah, I really pride myself in terms of let's make love because we're married.
It's an art for me, man. I don't do quick sketches, bro. Paintbrushing.
Yeah, man.
There's
But in terms of frustration, man, I do. I get frustrated. I get even to the point of being fali. Like, man, come on, man. Even to the point that sometimes I have to try to be kind of quite creative in terms of maybe creative or maybe kind of quite manipulative as well, because you want it, and if you're not getting it, and so which is probably the negative part of being sexually frustrated, But also I'm very wary of my wife's needs, but also very wary of the things that we do on a day-to-day basis. She's obviously she's a very busy woman as well, and we've got kids, and so I think, like you're saying, Jay, when both parties is in consensus and they both want to do it, oh man, it's magic. It's magic, man, because you both want to do it. You both want to share the love with each other. But it still doesn't change the fact that I still get sexually frustrated. Yeah, when you don't get it. So
it's good. I think it's good. Yeah, even though it was so uncomfortable to talk about, and then we're putting it out there.
I know, both want to see it. What are we thinking?
I feel like it's good to have these conversations. It's so good. It's good to hear everyone's experiences, and because I can resonate with a lot of it. And you imagine men out there like who, man, like the negative side of being sexually frustrated and you can feel like, oh man, do you not want me? Man, something wrong with me. And then sometimes you gotta think about, man, the woman's cycle, their emotions, if they've just had a baby and all that stuff is like, it all plays into it. But we sometimes as men, we feel like we take it so personal. It's like, oh, is something wrong with me? Do you not like me? And then as soon as, another woman shows you attention, and then that's why, we have a lot of broken relationships. But there's so much that goes into this part of the relationship. And if we can start getting a bit more comfortable, talk about it, you imagine how beautiful relationships can be and how much tools that men can get. And like, well, for Jay, like, you can have sex without your daroi.
What? Bro, just for a second was like, bro, Charles is what church?
Explain that, G. What do you
Don't worry. It's an art form.
But do you ever sometimes like, it's funny when you look back though, like to your younger self, like just if you knew what you knew now, like the things we did back in the day, because we didn't understand, like we never talked, like I never had this talk with my parents about sex and that. And so a lot of the stuff that like I used to be really ashamed of that I did when I was younger was like, actually that could have been avoided if like, my dad or my father or even my mom, like just somebody came and talked to me about like, this is okay, this is not okay, this is what's expected, this is how you, that sort of thing. Like, did any of you have that discussion?
Bro, man, no birds of the bees, man.
My talks were from the cousins. Like, yeah, but remember, they're still young too, and whatever they're experiencing, who taught them? So whatever they're teaching me, I'm like, and TV is not a good teacher, man. I remember watching something of Fresh Prince. I can't remember. There was an episode. I'm sure Will was teaching Tim and Campbell the blowing the ear thing. And I thought that was a thing, like a small. And she goes, what are you doing? Yeah, anyway, sharing too much, man. These taipu get us in trouble, man.
It is important. I think it's worth highlighting that.
Yeah.
Sex within a marriage, for sure. I think it's essential. But maybe not. Maybe there's people that don't like touching and, they're both like that, then that's maybe okay. But for the most part, like you said, it's an art. I think it's like communicative. But it's one of those things, like, you got to be willing, and you guys have already said this, we need to be willing to have a conversation with your spouse about this stuff. Like, if you're not getting enough, like, sex, then you just tell them, like, Han, I'm pretty frustrated right now. Like, things are pretty hard. But, you got to at least be able to have that conversation. Otherwise, you're just going to look elsewhere, either at porn or you're going to go to some brothel or something.
Can you... How important is sex to a relationship? Can you have an intimate, deep relationship without regular sex?
Me personally, no. But like, I think for general, yeah, I think you can, for sure. Do you guys reckon you can have an intimate relationship without sex?
Without regular sex or just without sex?
What did you say? Regular or
regular? But life without, oh my gosh, I don't want to think about it.
Yeah, I know, me too. I'm just like, I couldn't, but
I don't know.
Like you can?
I think people couldn't, yeah. You guys?
Oh, for me.
Should we do a 100-day challenge?
Nah,
don't.
Not keen.
I'll be in the rut, man. I'll be stuck in the rut, man. I think you can have an intimate relationship. But I think in terms of sex, I think that's pretty much the utmost part of being intimate. It's the kind of that level of intimacy that, man, it's just very special in terms of sharing with each other, your spouse. Yeah, you can be intimate, have these conversations, deep, meaningful conversations in the fiction, all that kind of stuff. But I think without sex, it's like it takes it to a whole new level.
There's vulnerability, within sex. Obviously, 2 naked bodies, bro. Like, it's pretty intense.
Yeah, and
It's months, bro.
And you know how we're saying it, I feel like, you know, the word sex has been like sort of, what you call it? What's that word? Diluted over what, you know, what's being portrayed.
Well, there's like negative stigma now attached to sex, when really, in essence, it should
and so
be
when we're talking about it,
beautiful.
like women might listen in on a podcast, go, "Oh, these guys talk about sex all," but like the beauty of sex, there's such a beauty, deep connection. The way, you know, when it's done right, and as believers, you know, we believe that's between, you know, your wife and husband, the confines of marriage, like how beautiful and intimate it is when you get to that level of intimacy, and it's just reserved for your loved one. And man,
It's just a shame that word sex has just been like dragged through the mud, bro.
you got any tips on? Nah, we ain't good.
Jesus.
Brad, what's your favorite position? Do you remember? You know how you got 8 kids.
Yeah.
Do you remember each position that they were? You know,
No.
They led to it.
that led to.
Nah, there's no way, G. It could have been many times that day. Like, you know what I mean?
Could have been the figure 4, could have been the sharpshooter,
The figure 8.
the Boston Crab.
Boston Crab. Oh man.
Okay, sorry.
That is just.
Just
There's no way, bro. There's
Wait,
no way.
was she awake?
I mean, maybe for some of them, who knows? Who knows? My poor wife. That's what I'm saying, man.
Oh man!
She's
Oh my
amazing.
gosh!
She's
Okay,
amazing.
do not do any snippets for this. This is only reserved
For those
for
who have the
our real
patience.
listeners. If you're tuning
for
in
the
and you
vault.
can't see this, that's for
Halfway.
you.
Let us know how you have sex. Not jokes, not jokes.
Using
Bam.
emojis only, describe your favorite sex position, and we're gonna guess what it is
Yo.
on the next episode.
A few moments later.
Yeah, it's been cool. I must say it's been different talking about like this whole taboo section. It's been weird talking about sex with other men, married men, obviously. But yeah, it's been pretty weird. I think it's important. Personally, I think it's important for relationships, especially like for marriages. So, woman, if your man's doing everything he's meant to do, and you're still not giving him any, come on, man, help a brother out, G. Like, yeah. Some men are unfortunate, I guess, in that regard. They don't know. They get married and they realize, oh, this chick's stingy with the mingy. No, sorry. I was just, bro, it's just a joke.
I've never heard that before.
Bro, it's just a joke, bro. I swear. I'm just joking. But yeah. I do feel for men that really do everything above and beyond, and they still don't get any from their wife. I find that sad if that's the case. Of course, it comes down to your relationship, and everyone's different. But yeah, definitely talk. Sorry, Jay, you're still recovering from stingy.
Like, you just raised another question that I'm just
What is it? Say it.
pretty much like names for our private parts. Like, what do you call a vagina and a penis? Do you call it that, or do you call it? You know, there's lots of different names for it. And just hearing you saying stingy mingy just made me think, because me and Kez, or me and my wife, always talk about how like that's the worst word to describe a vagina, like
What,
minge. Like, it just sounds. I don't like the sound of it. Like, it's just
Cringe at the minge.
nah, G,
if you do that, that's not a good sign.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have a name. Do you guys have a name? For your diddle?
Yeah, like even that little
Oh,
penis, cock, dick,
The bro.
like, the bro.
Nah. The hammer. Sorry.
me and
I'm
Neil.
like,
Jeez.
I don't have a name.
So you're talking about it? You just call it a penis?
I think
Ghoulies, eh? Ghoulies.
Ghoulies. Is that
Yes, I would say this. The ghoulies.
Sounds like cooties, like germs.
You want the ghoulies?
The ghoulies, you want the ghoulies?
Oh, damn.
Or
name.
bullabadankas, we used to say in the back of the day.
Oh, yeah. Actually, that one sounds familiar.
Nah, I think just cock. I don't want to talk about this anymore.
It's weird saying the
so
word.
weird, gee.
Like you're just not used to saying the word in the open,
Yeah.
let alone on camera.
Say hello to my little friend. Sorry.
This is months.
Sorry. I took us on a tangent. Okay, we'll go back to.
So that was your final words?
Just talk to your spouse. Talk to your spouse. Every couple is different. People might go months without having sex, and that's fine, and it works for them. And that's all good. Some people need sex every day. Yeah. Just as long as you and your spouse are all good, then. But it is important, personally. Charles.
Yeah. Final words. Now, shucks, this Talanoa's been different. Because like you said, one is taboo because we don't really talk about it amongst other men, and not as, back when we were younger, you're showing off, oh man, yeah, but and everyone thinks they're cool and look at sex differently. But I think this conversation was pretty cool. It was uncomfortable, but in terms of just sharing and looking at my own like self-assessment around my sex life and when I want it and how my wife feels, and just being conscious of each other's feelings and not prioritizing, like making it the thing, the deal breaker of our relationship, but making sure that she feels valued, and that the making love part is an extension of our love and our worship.
I just want to praise God right now. Is that what you mean? Oh, sorry. But listen, not bad. Again, bro.
Bro, it's one of those Zionists that nah, jinx. But yeah, like yeah, that's my final words.
Sorry.
And
I apologize. I just want to go on the record and say I'm sorry for that. That was disrespectful. Get those. Sorry.
come back to church, bro. You will be saved. Yeah, that's me. Thanks, guys.
Shadows.
Excuse me. Final thoughts that come to mind. If you're a father and your children come to the age where they get curious, man, have the conversation. It's going to be uncomfortable, but honestly, they will be better served in life. Like that moment of being uncomfortable is not worth a life. Potentially, teen pregnancies, things like that. Like, not saying that they're all bad, but your children can be more deliberate, more informed if you sit them down and have that conversation, no matter how awkward. In terms of as a marriage, man, I just communicate. Find the balance that works for you and your partner, your spouse, and sometimes you have to give a little to get some. It's unique to every relationship. So find what works for you and work with it.
Shut you mean?
Man, shot Jay. This awesome, Jay. Final words. I think it's important, like you said. I think it's important that we have these conversations. I think even to the point of normalizing it, not in the sense of being vulgar and obscene and crude about it, but just being mature about it. I think it's been cool for us and liberating for myself to have the conversation around sex or sexual frustration, all that kind of stuff. But I think it's quite liberating and that we have these conversations. I know we banter, we joke, but in no way are we trying to disrespect any woman or our wives and so forth. But I think it's important that we have these conversations as men and be open to it and learn from each other. It's been really cool to have this without having those conversations where it's kind of sexual and sex is this and that, quite degrading. But sex is beautiful, especially between a spouse, husband and wife. It's something beautiful, but something special, something precious. And who better than to share it with someone that you love? So, yeah, I think it's been good. Yeah. Don't be afraid to have the conversation. It's liberating and can help as well, and educating as well.
And just remember to DM us any topics, taboo subjects you want us to discuss, whether it's addictions, it could be porn or gambling, or we might not be the experts at it, but we'll definitely have a view or some sort of experience. And hopefully, after these conversations, we can sort of bring in some guests to specialize in that area, or and they can sort of have deeper like a further conversation around some of these topics. So, shop men,
shop brothers, we made it through it.
Made it through, man.
Stingy,
That's hardcore.
Wingy, stingy Winston. Yeah. Okay. So,
what's next?
Last one. Let's sort of check in on our R.U.T. Our R.U.T challenge.
For those who don't know, R.U.T is an acronym for Refine, Unlock, and Take Charge, which has been our mantra since we've started, I think, for the most part. And so it's just, if you have a goal, or like if you've been in a rut, what are you going to do to refine, unlock, and take charge of your life so that you can aim toward a goal, if there's some sort of goal, 2024 or moving forward? Who wants to kick it off?
Yeah, I'll go. I can't remember what I said. I figure I was vaping and drinking it. And so what I've done to in terms, I'm trying to get my health right. So if I get active and then and my spiritual, especially my spiritual wellness, really tapping into that to really brings down, my need of the fleshy things, and and then hopefully, because I want to go 100 days without alcohol, so it's been 4 or 5 days.
Charles,
I'll let you know if I reach 10 or 15 days, and so see how we go. I know eventually I'll get off vaping because it's not good. So that's me.
Nice.
I just gotta keep each week. Just gotta keep on refining it, and then hopefully the unlocking part is that I feel better. I feel much more fresher. Have better mind space, and then but I just gotta take charge, like do the discipline, and so I'm currently on F45. Monaco start their challenge next week, so I've just rejoined this week, slowly getting back into it, getting my eating right, fasting with my wife, so we'll see how we go.
Nice.
Sure.
Jay?
I'm trying to remember what I said last week. I think I said something about balance, at least that's
balance,
the thought that comes to mind. So for me, because I have such a horrible habit of saying yes to everything, it's trying to say no. Or at least be more considerate and purposeful about the things I say yes to. So I have said yes to a couple of things, but I've taken my time. I didn't say yes right away. So one of those is signing up for te reo lessons, because that's still something I really want to be able to do, is speak te reo. And the other is to help with 3D printing. So it's stuff that will be cool for me to know, but also it's stuff that I can do in the school with my kids. I can bring their stuff home, and I can help out at home as well. The other thing was like finances, because that's always the thing that scares me, is like being more balanced with finances, because that influences my spending, which influences my health. So just being like, we started shopping like click and collect on Pack and Save. So now we're just shopping online, because honestly, the amount of times I've gone in for like a short list and come out with like fizzy drinks and ice creams and all the treats. We're like, oh yeah, we'll treat ourselves, all good. And then we get the bill, we're like, no wonder we're broke, for next payday. So just trying to be a bit smarter and like leverage the things that are out there so that it's impacting us, in more positive ways. So that's helped in terms of home cooking, which has helped in terms of like prepping, getting my breakfast in and having my morning routine. So I've started doing just little exercises at home because budget's tight. We're trying to cut down. So it's just like literally 3 sets of 10 push-ups, 10 dips, 10 crunches, 10 squats. And that's more than I've done in the longest time. So it's just taking my time to build myself back up. So since last week, it's been pretty good, pretty balanced, and I feel happy. So
Sure, bro.
Shadows. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. My rut was obviously health wise. Beginning of the year hasn't been the best. It's been a bit of a crazy beginning of the year. But last year has been the worst in terms of fitness and health wise. And so I've been going to the gym started last week properly, and also this week as well. Eating is still I still got a ways to go in terms of eating, because just the eating habits has been quite bad. But I too, like Charles, am doing the F45 Monaco challenge. Coach Joe and Coach D, props to them. And and so looking forward to the challenge and looking forward towards the progress in terms of losing the weight and losing the gut and this rut. And so, and so far it's been good. But otherwise, I think throughout the weeks, you'll probably see more of a development in terms of myself and hopefully shrinking and getting rid of this gut.
Nice.
So that's meals.
Job, Pete.
My rut. Oh, that's right. I had my last blaze yesterday, which I'm pretty proud of. I know it's... I was thinking about it today. I probably smoke weed every day for like, I don't know how many months, bro. Like 3, 4, 5 months. Non-stop, bro. Every day I've been smoking weed. So it's like, it's pretty ugly. When I think about it, I'm like, damn, I'm 30 and I'm still like, got this addiction or whatever. But yeah, yesterday was my last blaze. Determined now to like be a man of action and get things done. Because I think that's been my biggest problem. I'll have a blaze, I'll get inspired, I'll do this and do that. But nothing really is completed ever because I'm just always too stoned. And then it gets to a point where like, it's just too hard. I'll just chill now. So I'm going to come out and hopefully you guys can keep me accountable with that, because I truly believe I've closed that door and I want to move forward. And so anyone out there that's struggling with giving up weed, you're not alone. Like there's a whole bunch of us for sure. We've had guests that have come. I think David Obita came and said he struggled with it as well. So I was like, damn, like you're not the only one. I'm not the only one, but yeah. And so from here, I've already started working with, I don't know if you guys know Jules. She's recording. They've got a stage show. She's music directing for. Bring It On, I think it's called. It's showing this week. Oh, it would have been last week when this shows, but I'm doing a song for them. So that was cool to sort of, cool, I'm getting my hands dirty, getting a project. But yeah, I think for me, I just need to get disciplined. I need to change my cycle of, instead of having a blaze, I've joined Jet's gym, which is pretty cool. So I'm going to start going gym again. BFT is just, I love BFT all day, represent, but we're just broke. So we got to go for the cheap option. So I think I just need to change. I would normally, my outlet would be having a blaze. I need to make my outlet like something positive, training or doing something. So I'm going to really work on my discipline. Look at getting up early, getting routine, really just putting in work. So if you're looking for someone to produce music or, do any sort of corporate video type stuff, interviews, whatever, let me know. But yeah, I'm just looking to keep busy for sure. Yeah.
Nice.
Feeling good there.
Shadows. Mean. That's mean. So, yeah. Any final words? Oh, checkout. Is that what we'll do? Checkout or just close it off?
think we're jigged.
Everyone's checked out.
Yeah, well, as usual. Nah.
As usual.
Nah, but shot brothers. I have to say, being on the table here, this is my second time, and man, it's just therapeutic, eh? Especially coming here talking with you guys. Like, I encourage everyone out there really to like find a group of friends or family members or someone that you can talk to, because it's like there's very few things that can make up for this. Like having this conversation, I think we're deep in the conversation. I was looking around like, this is mean, bro. Like this is therapeutic. Like I'm coming here and we're just having a conversation, talking about ideas, and it's like it's so cool. So yeah, I really encourage everyone out there to find a group of friends that you can create a safe space with and just have a conversation, see where it goes. You know.
Yeah,
I'm honored. I'm grateful to be here.
You don't need a camera, like. This is just different because of like we trust the space. Our intention is to model, and hopefully it, allows others to do so as well, and hopefully it's beneficial. And so we're sort of like
the guinea pigs, eh?
Guinea pigs, but we're not like worried about the cameras. Like not like before, we're always conscious, and so yeah. I think this is an awesome journey. Come on the journey with us. If you got any suggestions, anything you want to talk about, any guests you want us to interview, let us know, and we'll definitely mold the space as we journey along the year. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the rest of the year, and just know that you're worth it, guys. Whoever's listening. Oh no! And just last thing, I just want to shout out to people that own this T-shirt. It's growers. It's the grower program. Get ready, work ready. Just plugging in the team I work for, and any of you young people, the age between 16 and 24, can't find work, in the transition of don't know what to do. Go and Google this and register, and we've got an awesome team that will help provide some tools, give you some forklift licenses, driver's license, CV making, plug you into work. And yeah, I just want to shout out to all the amazing organizations out there, and just to remind you that this space is powered by AOK training, and so without them we wouldn't have this podcast. So Whawhitai Lover, that's from me.
Well, that's almost a perfect way to cap it off. Our final words, I don't really have too much to say that hasn't been said already. I think like Brad, it is therapeutic, and I'm just grateful to have friends to be able to offload, to take in stuff. And I do recommend finding it with friends. I think there's something unique and safe about having friends because they're the people that you can choose to open up to, people that get you, people that you have similarities with, and you don't have to go back to like an awkward family dynamic, unless you're comfortable with your family like that. But just really grateful to be here to unpack and unload and just better understand the things that are happening in my life. So yeah.
Shopper.
Shut, Jay. Just very, very briefly, just want to say, I think it's important for us to have these courageous conversations, even life-supporting conversations, and to have start the conversation, but more so to have the dialogue in the midst of good friends and friends that you trust. I believe it's important to have those kind of mates out there. It's more so as men, because we wouldn't necessarily have these conversations. We wouldn't have these. It's not normal for us to have these conversations around. And more so mature conversations around all the other taboo topics, but also just being courageous to have these conversations. And so the more of us who are having this, the more understanding, and the more it is we can learn from each other. I think that's what it is. We learn from each other so we can best know how to do and work and be ourselves in the midst of others as well. So, as usual, brothers,
refine,
unlock,
and take charge.
Mandate.